Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the closing acumen. Today is uh, welcome to the closing acumen, guys. This screen is very big today. let me let me go. Let me go on the small screen. Uh, but welcome, guys. Welcome to the screen is really big. Hold on, let me see here. Uh, let me see here. Uh, yeah, full screen. I don't have the full screen. Yeah. Okay, guys, welcome to the closing acumen. Today is Thursday, the 3rd of April. Uh, I'd like to announce that we are having problem with. I understand there's a heavy rain in Monrovia, and the station is off today. They kind of the rain won't permit us to go by radio today. So today we're just going live. Uh, we're just going live from here. Let me see what I can reposition the screen. Uh, see what I can reposition this screen here today. But welcome, guys. Welcome. Uh, we are here on the closing acumen. Great. I think we got it working there. Yeah, we got this working there. So welcome. Uh, So we're not going to go through the radio today because there's a rain in Liberia, and I understand that we can't use the regular station to get on, but we shall try to bring you the best we can. Mr. Gidman is in the back. Let me get him on. Mr. Gidman, good to see you. Happy Thursday.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, almost there. I just went back to work today, so.
Oh, okay. So you got a lot of energy. That's good.
Yeah, I went back to work today since I came. I went
Friday
back.
is tomorrow. You're gonna have
Yeah,
a great day tomorrow.
yeah. So Friday, and then I can chill on the weekend. I can relax on the weekend. So, yeah. But I was just announcing that I understand there's a heavy downpour of rain in Liberia today, and so we will not have access to the radio today because of the rain. But however, we wanted to keep it going on the social media. We just didn't want to go off air today
Good.
because of that. But for those who can join us from Liberia, and we'd like to welcome them. I see Yamichu Mensa from Minnesota. I see Mr. White from Minnesota. He's joining. Other people are joining. So as they make their way, we'll just continue. But Mr. Gilman, how you been and what's going on, man?
Well, we are just thankful. I'm grateful to you for what you're doing for our people. Um, when people take these things for granted, things like safe drinking water. If you only knew how many lives we lost every year to typhoid and contaminated water and everything else. I was talking to a growth expert the other day, and he talked about the word he used was stunt. Why third world countries children don't grow to be their regular height. And
Hmm.
and nutrition, water is one of those things, and workload, early work on a farm, or putting big stuff on your head, the kid toting those things all day, okay,
Yeah.
on their head, and just walking the street for hours without nutrition, without the right kind of food, all of these things contribute towards stunt. I never
Yeah.
heard that before, but the longer we live, we learn.
Yeah.
So when you have time, just read up on the what causes children to be stunted. Stunting
Mm.
is why we are not growing. When the kids are not 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
All of these things contribute to them. So when I see you uh, 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 digging well and giving safe drinking water, it's not cheap. Those things are not cheap.
They're expensive. They're expensive.
I was talking to somebody. I said, how much is going to cost a little well? He said, I mean, you talk about around $1,800 to $2,000.
Yeah, that I pay a little more than that. I pay
Yeah,
with the coming in at digging it costs you more than almost
mhm.
$3,000. Yeah,
You
yeah.
see,
You know,
so
it's
it's not for the faint of heart. And you go into a little village where there's no employment, there's no income. For
right,
you to say you're raised $3,000,
right,
it is almost impossible. So what you are doing there, I think that we should appreciate, and not only that, but on behalf of those who do not have the means of telling you
mm, right,
in public that they appreciate, they do,
right.
because you are saving lives. Children will be born,
Right,
and they will live a decent life.
right, right. Thank you, thank you. I mean, it's something a passion that I had many years ago. And when I had the opportunity to go back home after almost 10 years, and I wanted to do something very something more sustainable, not just giving people 20, 30 bags of rice, giving people food to eat or feeding people. But I wanted to do something sustainable that the entire population, everybody can benefit within a community. And I think the best way to do it, my heart for providing clean water was just it was just something that I wanted to do. And started to work on it. Started off very small. And now we have you know I think counting, we have built more than 25 to 28 hand pumps in different villages. Bassa, Nima, Sano. We went as far as Kid Mile and other places. Every year, that's what I do. That's what I go there to do. But some people don't see it. The other day, somebody had written on my page and kind of shared it there. Other people like, oh, he looking for government job now. Like, why he going going all over the place and giving water? So I said, you know what, guy, just one of the guy wrote. I said, just refer to my website and see what I've been doing in the past. Very long time. Even before I even went to Spoon, I started doing the water project. That's how we were able to build a school in Orange Grove. We were able to build a
That's
school
correct.
in
Yeah,
Nimba and other places. I'm not this the far maybe this how far I'm going to come with politics, but I don't have any. I have a zero interest of even trying to contest any position in Liberia. I got zero interest for that, because I just feel my calling is in a different area, rather not in this is the only way I will come. But we've been doing that for the last 7, 8 years, and we have built more than 28 hand pumps in different villages and stuff like that, from Bassa to Nima to Sano, all over country. The only places we haven't really reached yet is probably Lofa and Maryland, and we are gradually getting toward the area, and stuff like that. But people have been very generous in supporting that project. We got a couple of partners who have been very generous, who support that regularly on a regular basis. So, like this year, we're able to build three different hand pumps in different
oh,
areas. Yeah, we're able to build like three. So it really. We went to Rossville, and you'd be surprised, Mr. Gibbon, that in that town that got some prominent people. This is I mean, this is the only clean water that we built there. I mean, the neighbors, kids from the high school came up, and the village, the mayor, other people say they don't have real functioning water in that place. It was just the water that we built in there that are going to provide water for more than 4, 5, 6,000 people in that area. They're going to benefit from that pump and stuff like that.
wow.
Yeah. So
It was I was on my way to Bassa one time to Buchanan, and one of your homeboys from Orange Grove, A.B. Williams in
yeah,
Atlanta,
yeah.
he told me, he said, my man, the work that your Bassa boy is doing over there building school. He told me
Right,
the school that you built there, that
right,
your organization built,
right.
and he just couldn't stop
But he was
saying,
Ebi was also very generous. He did make a contribution to that project. He was very
"Mhm,
generous to that. And there was another family from Orange Grove, because it was a kindergarten school, and there was another family from Orange Grove whose mom was a principal for that kindergarten school.
yes,
So yeah, so they were generous too. I was surprised. One day I was sitting and she said, the lady called me from Rhode Island, said, my brothers and sister, we want to make a contribution because our mom worked at that school for many years, and they sent me a gift. But to make a long story short, that school was built when I went to Orange Grove, we have gone to dedicate a hand pump that we built. We built like 3 different hand pumps in Orange Grove. So we have gone there to dedicate it. And I said, let me go over to the school and hang out with the kids at the kindergarten school. And when there, those kids were sitting in one house with no roof. And when it rains, the water pour into that, So I was there, and the principal like, can you help us to put the roof on this place? I'm like, well, how much going to cost? She's like $3,000. So okay, I'm not promising you, but when I get back to the U.S., I'll try to see if I can raise 3,000. But when I got back and shared the story of those young children, a good Samaritan came up to give $50,000. Said, Henry, hey, let's go and build that school. He said, don't repair it. Let's build a new school for the kids. So we went. That's how we built that school. And on this trip, we have to repin the whole school because everything was kind of getting messed up. So we did some work there just on the most recent trip. Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
yeah.
Those are the stories that we want to tell. We don't want to wait until the politicians get elected. Then they start building pump. That is not their, it's not their money. They take the government money and go build pump.
Yeah.
And then when you clap for them, okay.
Yeah.
So you got people. You have your family. You got your job. Yeah. It's not just building the school, but it's sacrifice to leave everything behind.
Yeah.
Go to the villages, make life better for the other folks.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's why I always say, when my son was playing basketball, and when they are down in the game, he feels discouraged, and I tell him, do your part. This is what they call the power of one.
Right.
If you do well, and the rest of it can feed off your energy, that's the power of one. One person can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So you started something, and everybody else said, you know what?
Right. Right.
If he wants to do this, then we all need to step in, because Orange Grove is a very historic town in the nation. And you have some powerful folks out of that place. I remember, I think the late Nathan Ross, all of those great guys, and
the Ross, the artists and all those guys from
the artists. There you go. Artist. I think he was a judge, a lawyer, or something like that. There.
Yeah.
So
the Bachu.
The Bachu, that's correct. The Bachus.
Yeah.
And so I mean, you got some great folks from over there. Last month when I was in Liberia, I stopped there again to see, and I called AB. I called AB from that. I said, I'm in your hometown. But thank you very much.
There's a lot going on. In fact, one of the reasons I went there this time, we're going to be building a vocational center in Orange Grove. So one of the reasons I went there was to do to get the drawing for the center. We're going to be training not only church leaders, but we're going to be training kids from Orange Grove in different skills. So the good thing is, funds are available to do the work. I just need to complete the drawing and send it to the donor, and we're going to start working right away. So I want to bring that little town back, but I don't want to be no representative, superintendent, nothing. I do not. My dad told me to stay out of the people politics. Don't get into the people politics. You know what? My dad told me that. Said, do not. And I got zero interest, to be honest, zero interest for any of the political aspiration in our country. Zero. I can't do it. I really can't.
Listen,
this is how far I stopped.
You are the real diplomat, the fake diplomat that went to that school. They went to. I'm not calling anybody name here, but when you push them, they get upset. They start calling you bush chicken or bush cow and all that other stuff. Yeah. I don't know what kind of school you got. Pewee, welcome, man. Listen, tell me what kind of diplomatic school you went to where somebody push you to the wall, you start cussing. What kind of diplomat is that?
Do you give us a hard question?
The ambassador said, but man, you are muted. The ambassador said, why you want to ask me that? You a bush cow?
Yeah, bush cow, bush chicken, But on the most serious note, my dear brother, equivalent to both of you and our wonderful audience. On our most serious note, I had some of the guys survive in the country, right? They run around and get some fictitious money around the place and use that as a springboard to subject most of our folks that are destituted and rather do things the way they want to carry out. If people would understand that fellow is now referred to as a presidential envoy, probably have used his small cash he got around people around the president to get that title, and he used that in the most smart way to extort. And that'll be very frank here, right? He's done to bring nothing. He want to use that diplomatic privilege to do a lot of things behind the scenes. People don't understand what he's doing.
He got a
right?
diplomatic passport.
Yes,
of course.
That's the only thing. That's the only reason why he's doing those things. And listen, this is a fellow that managed the Mesa and Liberia process. There were a lot of scandal. They have to take it from him. A lot of it. So, I mean, the boycott administration will have to be very intentional to see if they want to take the Bureau to the next level in terms of the rescue process. It's unfortunate you have people that are very counterproductive in their thought process, the way they want to see the country forge ahead. There's no plan whatsoever. You saw yesterday discussion. There's a man that came intentionally to attack instead of giving solution to the problem he was appointed for. Who will be appointed? He's according to him spending thousands of dollars just on private trip around the place. Let begin to ask the hard question here. Thousands of dollars. He said he tried to boast about it, but in other words, exposing yourself as to there's some fictitious activities unfolding, something surreptitious and sinister is unfolding somewhere. We have to uncover who fund those thousands of dollars. So are you taking your personal money and just spending it in the need of what? So there were the hard question we have to come from. And if the country will have to move ahead, we should ask some of those questions and then we see the way forward. Not to call someone. Number one, I grew up in the village. So if you come in bush chicken, it will movement, right? I can't be bullied to the kind of a line. I grew up in the village. There's the bush cow or whatsoever thing that came from the cave. I just want to remind him to read about the process about the allegory of the cave. I came from the cave, and I will always go back to the cave and bring people out of the cave. That's our responsibility. That's what we do. We don't bullet people down. Some of us, we're not that level. We pass it, right? So we're not hungry. We're not desperate, but we're going to be here to front for the people. But if you be appointed, there's a man I was saying he want to look what he was saying yesterday. That could not even was not cohesive. He want to take the airport to the tail level, right? Expand the airport by 3.
3, that's right.
The small one you have here, you can manage it.
Listen,
your pie can't read between the lines.
Listen, sometimes you just gotta go to the source, okay, and don't beat around the bush. And Mr. Myean Stella Herring, no, I have never asked you to clap for me, so don't clap. If I didn't do anything right, don't clap for me. A great woman. She went with me to Basel to distribute 30,000 books and 150 computers. She did an excellent job, and she still does. Yes, but when you have people like Dr. Peabody, people, when they say I'm using my own resources and connection and asking people to help along, right. You listen. Right. Because there's evidence to show that he's been doing it for years.
Yes.
Right. And still continue to do so. Right. And then when you ask him the hard questions, he answers. Right. You get confused, like, those of us in the kind of business. If you ask me for the question, I don't have, if the answer is not readily available, I'll tell you, I'm going to find out and I will get back to you. It is not compulsory that I give you the answer on the spot, even if I don't know it.
Yeah.
I can always go get the answer and come back and give it to you instead of, doing some of the things guys do. It's terrible. But Peabody, I take my hat off to you. I mean, what I saw in your hometown, if we all did just one thing in our hometown,
right,
we will reduce unemployment in the country. Right. Because those projects you are doing in those villages, they require workforce, local workforce.
Right.
Jerome, I will petition you. I will petition you to be one of those to replace Bezongao.
That my brother Bezongao, I'm going to. In fact, I'm calling him tonight so he can come here tomorrow.
Oh yeah, but and
So you bush chicken and talk to a civil man.
Let me tell you the information here.
That's a better pause.
You know, him a most cherished boss man I've ever worked with. We spoke of you a little bit. The man had he got you very high esteem.
He's my brother. He's a very great guy. Actually, I'm calling him tonight to come on tomorrow. I mean, either tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah, we'll bring him on. He's coming on. Yeah, we'll bring him on. Yeah.
His dream was when he got reelected, he said, Jerome, I'm going to push for Buchanan and Grand Bassa. Say, let's start with Buchanan first. Let the city get lit. Let's get some electricity there. He been preaching this thing, and when he got elected, the first thing he said when he got installed was that. So now that we got electricity coming to Bassa, everybody now wants to take credit, okay? And like I was telling the debater yesterday, this would be plagiarism in academics. If you took somebody's work and you don't give them credit, okay? Honorable Finley says during his campaign that his number one responsibility would be to have electricity in Bassa, beginning in Buchanan. When he got installed, it was the first thing he said on the Senate floor. If I don't accomplish anything, I want to do all I can to work with this administration to see if it cannot be lit. And now we're finally seeing it, and everybody taking credit. Nobody giving him credit to say this was his idea. This is this man's dream. If he doesn't accomplish anything, this is his handiwork. Nobody's doing it. So I call Chief Tomalin, and I said, Tom, we have to bring this, we got to bring the senator on so he can come here and talk to how far the promise he made, how far he has gone and where we are, so the Bassa people can listen. So you guys get a green light, let us know so we can tell our folks in Bassa.
Any day he's ready, he can come on. Any day he's ready. I mean, you know, but I think it's important because now everybody, you know, I don't know. I don't like to get into this, but there's so much. They have the Bassa group. They are a great group, the Unibor group. They have a Bassa group, but it has so many plaintiff Bassa organization, and you know, it makes it difficult to really, you know, support what you want to do or how you want to, you know, go about. But Bezongao have worked very hard. I saw him in Kentucky once with the other group. And I think there's a need to give him kudos for what he's done, not to just sit there because you got, let me leave it. You got a president who from Bassa and with a lot of opportunity, a lot of leeway that can bring some significant development to Bassa. And we have not seen that started yet. We haven't seen it. You know, we have not seen anything like that. You know, and somebody who's actually working, the Bezongao Finley, they are not getting the credit. It's going to other people who's doing nothing. You know, that's how far I can go. It's going to other people who's not doing anything, and they're sitting there, they're way up there and stuff like that. And you know, because the last election, Western lost by just a fraction of the vote. He had the mandate. I mean, he just accepted, but he could have gone for a recount the last election, but he decided to let it go. You know, so I mean, but other people are taking the glory now. The big political leader, they're using money to fund building, but do something remarkable so that the poor Bassa can say, you know what? Yes, we had this era, and that's what Bassa is doing. Because if you take electricity to Bassa becomes just like Sunny Kore or Kanta again.
Pewee. Lo, who's that?
Yeah, that Guar on the other side.
Yeah, that and Curtis, the two brothers, Curtis Finley and the guy said, "Why you short guy go stand between those two guys?" I said to take picture, you're gonna go measure people. These are people. We are all folks from Basel fighting for the same cause. We want our county to be better. And like you said, the reason that we fight for these positions, pro tem and powerful positions like the former Secretary of State, Besogafile, with those two people in government, we should be the shining star. We should be able to bring development because that you talk about power.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will put the pressure on them. We are not satisfied. We're an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes from Monrovia. You can live in Buchanan and commute to work in Monrovia and go back in the evening.
Yep.
I mean, you if you live in the Baltimore Northeast, 2 hour commute, hour and a half commute each way is nothing.
Right.
It's nothing.
But
so
that's
yeah,
true.
go ahead.
That's why I want to build my house in Orange Grove, where I can drive to Bassa, drive to Monrovia.
Right.
You're right. I'm 3 minutes to Firestone, and I'm 7-8 minutes to Robert International Airport, 30 minutes or 20 minutes to Monrovia. Why go live in a jam-up Monrovia place? When I can live right there and enjoy the fish from the Farmington River and swallow my little domo and stuff like that.
That's correct. Pewee, where you gonna build our retirement mansion, man? Tell me. Don't tell me Foya ain't got no ocean. Foya got no ocean, man. No waterfront.
No. Unfortunately, I'm not from Foya. We from the middle of it, the Zod desert terrain. But listen, retirement, and you struck something very profound just now. You need to structure somewhere where you can have a farm. It should be somewhere situated near the major river, as Dr. Peabody just said. And you guys are a bit fortunate to have Grand Bassa County is a Buchanan. This is, if not surrounded, but Buchanan is there's a gulf there with the Atlantic Ocean. But then you have the St. John River from the other end. Right, so and then you have apart from the St. John River, you come down a little bit.
We got Benson River.
The Benson River is where that about Cutting Tree.
Oh no, Benson River, right by the city, right. When you leave Buchanan, when you leave St. John, when you go over the St. John River Bridge, the big bridge, just before you get into Buchanan itself, you see Benson River. That's
that Benson River there. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that don't forget that the Farmington River also separates Mangibi.
The Farmington River separates Mangibi and Grand Bassa.
And Grand Bassa, all that going around.
That's the Farmington. That's the Farmington River. So unlike us, it's just regular natural rivers. It's but in the deeper part of the forest. So where we go to hunt and other things. So I'm looking forward to doing something in if I want to do some retirement line, maybe I will try to own some land because that's my next family side. In Merida County, where I can get a
that's a
where I can get an area near the coast. What I would do one on the side of the Myean River in Lofa, deep into Yela, crossing towards the border. But yes, and that's the kind of a retirement you want to talk about, because if you retire that way, like in the evening, traditionally the traditional folks around. And then you get your power coming to you.
Hey, what else you want in life?
Right? Those are natural palm wine.
Yes.
In the evening, and particularly from the Myean River, the river that is dividing Liberia from Guinea, from that angle of Lofa, that river is infested with a lot of different kind of rich catfish, right? Different kind. The one in Loma, they call it Torgbean, all those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a kind of an area that you retire. You get you see the ecosystem will hit you well, and a lot of even the air you breathe there.
Definitely.
Nothing seems to be. It's difficult to even see motor vehicles, and it will take you hours to see motor vehicles. So
for the gentlemen and women in the tourist industry, we are talking about real tourism now. We're not talking about pie in the sky. We're not talking about pie in the sky.
Tourism.
Yeah. That we call inbound tourism.
Yeah. What is it? What kind of tourism? The one that made me laugh the most is health tourism. Health tourism. How? Mr. Pewee, you're the diplomat. Tell me, what does Liberia have a health tourism? Health?
Maybe we're going to start making use of the zoo and body. Traditional. Maybe we'll evoke the juju thing, and so we'll tell people we got juju.
Look,
so people come to Liberia for
solution. When you listen to some of these folks,
there's an area to tap in. They don't want to tap into. Let's see what. Normally we look at our various Facebook pages and other things. Look at what is doing there in Patawi. Have we thought of finding someone to put good money in our place? You're going to start going to visit. When people go there to visit the place and other things, go and see what happened in Patawi. A recent, my sister visited Liberia, and she and some folks, they went to Nimba on their way back. They stopped there. Some American folks also. And they were just like, wow, this is wonderful. Why they can't put this on? We can see this on the internet to see if there could be a pathway for many people taking a visit. Funds and investors to do 1 or 2, maybe they build like 3, 4-star or 3-star hotel around there. Pave the road around there. Make sure you put a police station in there, and you find government can invest and put a clinic around. You're going to see and put that on the internet and see. That's a natural area. I went to Victoria 4 in Zimbabwe, and I went to the Victoria 4. The Victoria 4 alone is raising close to $2 to $3 billion a year for the Zimbabwean government. The Victoria 4.
Oh, yes.
The all popular and famous Victoria 4. I went there. I actually have some photo in my gallery about the Victoria 4. Now, the Patawi 4, they're not making use of the Patawi 4. It's natural. It's in 3 different segments. And I thought we expected the envoy to talk about some of those things, how they doing to secure that side of it, promote it, put it all around. Folks will go and visit, build area there for people to be resident around it that will be fit. Then leaving their homes and being back in that part of the world and see things. First and foremost, are we engaging Brussels Airlines to do a 30 or 20-minute clip about beautiful part of Liberia? Go places like Grand Crew and see how they see Grand Bassa, those areas. Beautiful, and tell them the ecosystem of the country, how natural our beaches are. Put it in some of those airlines in there. So when you fly, sometimes you take some time, you click. You fly, that's going on Togo. They got about 40-minute click on Togo.
But Professor, they did a click on Liberia one time about women involvement in work. I was traveling to Liberia once on SM Brussels. They had a video of different women in Liberia. There was one lady at the time who was driving for the United Nations. She was driving one of the trailer. They had what's the girl name? She was managing director of Firestone, or some manager at Firestone at the time. And they had that click. It was like a 10 or 15 minute click.
Yeah, it was sponsored by the UN.
Yeah, they had it on FM Brussels. When you click on the video, I watched that video traveling to Liberia.
Pewee, what you're talking about, this is what the government should be doing. When you look at, I'm a Chelsea fan, right? When you look at these, all the jerseys got Emery, fly Emery, right?
Yeah.
Lately, we've been seeing in the Premier League, Rwanda. You've been seeing Rwanda have been investing heavily in the Premier League. So now we're seeing Visit Rwanda, and they're showing it's not cheap. Like Pewee said, it is intentional. Kagame have made it a public policy to promote the greatness of Rwanda, its culture, its citizens, and its developmental agenda. So when this man said we don't need any money from the government, I will do my own, and whatever I raise, I keep, or something of that nature. That's not how it works. I live in Florida, the mecca of tourism. You think they will come here, sit around, and say, "Well, we can't do the Disney for now, but we can do the little parks, the little stuff, and then we go from there." No, you don't come to Florida where tourism is king. Then you say, where are you? I can't tell you where I am now. Those kinds of stuff. You say you are on a mission to promote tourism, but you can't tell where. You say I'm in the bush somewhere.
Yeah.
But your background looks like you either a very luxury hotel.
It's a hotel.
Well, I think what you'd have done, you should be trying to connect with places like the tourism board, Florida Tourism Board. You should be trying to connect with them and see how you can get something coming out of those areas. Just consultation stuff. But I don't know. But guys, you know what? We got this thing coming up. This lady, we have put her story back. We decided to talk about it, but we haven't had the chance. I went to Liberia. Johnny scheduled a meeting for me to go and visit her in the prison, but I got stuck with a young man that I was trying to help, a young man that I brought to the U.S. 5 years ago to do a surgery, and we did the surgery, and then he went back home, and then the stuff started to grow back. The tumor has grown even more than when we brought him to do the surgery. So this young man we were supporting him in school, everything, and apparently his parents neglected him in the home, and a lady found him looking for food in the garbage pot. Looking for food in Liberian garbage pot, and this lady found him and took him in. So when I've been working with the doctor at Mass General Hospital in Massachusetts, they've been trying to get him back to the States to do the surgery again, but they contacted Mercy Ship in Sierra Leone, and Mercy Ship should be going to Sierra Leone, and we've been working back and forth to get this young man when Mercy Ship go to Sierra Leone. But then the parent neglected him. Somebody phoned him. The next thing I'm in Liberia, I see this live show on. People say they're going to donate to this kid, they're going to do that, and I didn't really like it because the tumor was so big, and they were showing that so live in Monrovia. So I went to find the family. When they found out in Liberia, here's what it did. The dad, they started running around. I'm dead now. Mr. Peabody here and looking. This happened. He called me and said, "Oh," and I went there on it now. He told me, he said, "Oh, the child was in. One lady came and took the child, and he won't come back home, and she planned to take our child away." So we talked one thing. I said, "How long he been out of the house?" They said, "More than a month." I said, "Oh, your child left the house more than a month, and you never went and said somebody took your child?" Make a long story short, they put up this scene that the woman stole the child, and this blah, 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 blah. They went to the police station. The next day, I went to the police station, and I had a conversation with the child, one-on-one. He said that his parents kicked him out of the house. They would leave him there for days, no food. He would not eat. He would get in the street and look for food. Long story short, I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "I don't want to go back to my parents' house." I said, "I don't make that decision. But your dad and the lady can coordinate, and then I will have somebody coming here and checking on you guys until you go to Sierra Leone to do the surgery." The dad refused. The dad said, "I'm not going nowhere." He said, "I'm not going to nobody's house. He doesn't want to come home. He can stay," stuff like that. So I'm not going to be in the middle of the conversation. I'm going to help this young man because we helped him go to the U.S. 5 years ago during COVID. I brought him here and did the surgery. My goal is to help the young man survive. So he can do it. So we went through that. At the end of the day, the child said his parent home was not an option because they treated him like a dog. And then I found out that the mother that came with the child was not the biological mother. The first time I ever found out. She came, I brought her to Massachusetts. She was there. We raised about $10,000 for her to go back home and do some business and support her child. We sent vaccines from London because Mass General Hospital in Massachusetts did not have it. They sent that vaccine from a company called Antigen in London. They sent the vaccine where this lady was to take the child once a month to do the shot. That would have suppressed
the growth
until he turns 18. She did not take him more than 2 times in a year. The doctor will call me. We brought a doctor here, Dr. Siakamano, came along with this child. We brought 3 people from the U.S. Sia will call me and say, "I've been calling this lady to come take the shot. The month just ended. They will not bring this child." When I call her, she said, "Oh, we ain't got no money." I said, "We raised 10 grand. And you went back because she said you used to sell slippers." So I said, "You can have a big slipper
Oh,
Factory.
yes.
Very big slipper market.
Plenty of money.
Where they did with that money?
Maybe
It's
she just used the
history.
money and abandoned the kid.
It's history to ban this kid. So we just took this kid in, got him situated with the lady. I went to the lady. I said, I'm just going to give you some money support. I mean, we'll send you some money for food and things until the surgery time. And then he do the surgery. So because of that, I could not go to the meeting. In fact, the police wanted to arrest his dad. I'm like, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not here for that. But my goal is for this kid to advocate for him until he goes to Sierra Leone and do the surgery. But it was a sin. It was a sin. I saw the kids. But he
So
told me,
when's the surgery due? Because I saw the tumor is really protruding to the extent that this.
yeah, it's very huge. Mercy Ship, we've been in contact. In fact, for the last 7-8 months, the surgeon at Mass General Hospital and I have been back and forth, and they recommended him to Mercy Ship because another surgeon from that hospital was voluntary at Mercy Ship. So we did the referral, we did the intake. They have said they will get back to us. They are still reviewing and doing the evaluation. We have sent them the medical records from Mass General Hospital, and once they get ready to come to Sierra Leone, the two of us keep checking on the website. Once we come back to Sierra Leone, we'll let you know, and then how he should come there. So that's where the goal is, to just get this young man help and stuff. But the mother, the lady who claimed to be the mother, actually out there making money out of this child because she goes there and people give her money. But we raised $10,000 cash that this lady went back to Liberia with Henry Peabody saying it here. The goal was for her to make her business bigger,
And take care of the child.
This child was going to a school. The manager for SN Brussels, Amma Harris, has a school. She used to literally send her car every morning to pick up this boy and bring him to school. The parents would not even try to put this child on a keke and take him to school. Amma used to send her car every morning. Not until the thing got so big and it created a concern. And now he said, now they left him. Dad, he said he was out of town for 1 month. And to leave the child, couldn't eat. The child would go to the garbage and beg for food. How you treat somebody like that? You know? So that's why we didn't connect with Miss Nikki. But Johnny connected with her. She's still in jail. They are not free this lady. He went to the jail. I wish the kids in studio to send the photo that this lady is still in jail going through hell. And nobody is even trying to help her, the union leader for the Satellite Royal Corporation. And I understand Jetty played a major role. He's telling people that they should not free this lady because she caused stir in our country. It's totally unfair. It's totally against, it's a human right issue here. And to be in a country because he have his business, he have money, he's using that to take advantage of that lady. I think it's sad. But welcome, guys. Russell, my boy, Mr. Hameen, welcome as well. You know, but that's what happened. So I wanted us to at least touch base. I wish Tomalin was here to call her husband, but to touch base about Miss Nikki. Miss Nikki is going through, so that's you help a couple of times to send some money. We all raised some money to help her to support a kid and stuff like that. There's a guy who's sending money like 2 times to help this lady.
Yeah, the guys here are going to Mm-hmm.
Well, he sent like 2 times. He has.
Yeah,
I think he has some.
It's quite unfortunate on a more serious note that and I think we need to make some effort from here. Also, I'm going to see how we can push to because this is very important. We need to push and put some pressure on Jetty to see if actually he's behind this or stop this, and also find out if we can see if she can have a lawyer, because this granted that she was charged with arson as they are alleging. I don't have the detail of the circumstances surrounding her being in jail currently, but one thing I know as per the laws of our country, they are allegedly committed, is bailable. So there's no need of she's not charged with treason. It's not a treasonable offense, and so on no account that she should be held this kind of a circumstances, torture, because that's a kind of a physical or emotional torture, if you will, if not physical, but it's a kind of an emotional torture to keep someone because by the laws of our country, a billable offense should be bailed out by a lawyer. But what I'm sensing is like they try the intimidating, they're using the kind of intimidating scare tactics to keep her perpetually behind bars, to demoralize her basically. And this woman, the only thing she done wrong was to stand and advocate on behalf of thousands of workers that are being laborers, if I want to put it that way, because these are people that are being paid $65, $75 a month, $65 given a month, right? And the attempt to push for them, and the fact that the company is leaving, and Jetty is allegedly, again, because I stand to be corrected if I'm wrong or so, is going to get this company, and then this woman is saying, hey, if you want to do this, you have to pay the back pay of those laborers, and then the rest of that, and you cannot just do it this way. And probably that's the only wrong she did. And then she found herself in this kind of a predicament that is also embarrassing. She got her family, her husband himself being tortured, and the rest of that. I mean, when people don't have the means to defend themselves, folks that are defenseless, being treated in this kind of a way, and in the kind of open time we have, because we advocated. This is part of the reason I was saying to Mr. Nangbe the last time he came here, the multi-partyism and the political pluralism we fought for. It's not about this time that people will be subjected to this kind of a physical or emotional torture, if you will, particularly those that are defenseless, Dr. Peabody. That's a woman that's getting around $65. She got her children, her husband will have to go and go through all of difficult rigor to ensure that they do one or two. So what we can do is to ascertain, first and foremost, if she got a lawyer, and that's one of the things I will try to contact Johnny to see. We all collectively can do that to find out. If not, the first thing is that they bail her out while the case will be pending in court. This is not a murder charge. This is not a treasonable charge. She should not be in jail more. And I think this has been going on for more than 2-3 months, or 2 months now. Is that correct, Dr. Peabody?
Yeah, she's been in jail.
It's unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. Seriously.
So
we'll do everything to reach out to Jetty if it is true. No, listen, you can come from India and come and doing business in the country for more than almost 50 years now or so, and try to subject our people to this kind of a treatment. That only happened in India. And the Liberian government, to the Minister of Justice, if you are tuned, or anyone from the Ministry of Justice, please look into this case. This is a Liberian woman, a poor Liberian woman. I don't want to use the word poor, but a struggling Liberian woman, right? And I can recall the kind of a way some of us came up also. I don't want to. It's wrong. It's just unacceptable. So we have to find some time and stop the time. We've been talking about this, and we have not been taking more action than the people. I think we can bring our voice to bear, and we can make some significant change in this process and make some progress between now, hopefully, and next week about this particular matter. I think we should begin to do that.
I think we should plan a special show, if not tomorrow. Or
Tomorrow is Friday. Let commit tomorrow, Friday, to this process. And then Friday, let commit Friday to ensure that first and foremost we establish that her right, because the due process of law have to be brought to bear here. Her right to justice have to be brought to bear. So we face that first and foremost, and we expect that the process of her release on bail, while we're looking forward to the litigation process unfolding. I think that I will stop for now on this particular matter.
All right, guys, welcome everybody. Anybody, Mr. Gibbon want to touch in? Then we go to Safik, Mr. Safanic. We'll go to him, and then Julius, and then Robert. But welcome everybody, man. I don't know whether you guys been following the story regarding Miss Mary Nikki Bama. So she's the union leader for the Satellite Royal Corporation. We had her on the show yet before. And they recently arrested her, and she's been in jail almost 3 months, and there's no release for her, and I should have visited her in jail this week, but I just did not have the chance because I was running after another emergency. And but our one of our panelists here, Johnny, had been visiting with her. He went, in fact, he even sent me a photo. I mean, if the kids were back there, I would have sent it for them to even put it on, but it's a serious situation. It's a very serious situation. So if you guys want to weigh in, before we move on, that'll be fine.
Yeah, I think Russell came. So he in that order.
Okay.
Mr. Russell, I yield. Go ahead.
No, thank you, and good being here again. Like to say hi to all of the listeners out there and the viewers out there. So, just want to jump into the debate and the conversation. I don't have much to add to the topic at hand, Dr. Peabody. So I will just pass it on to whoever is next. Is that
Okay. Siddiqui, you want to come in? You want to come in?
Actually, I came in when you
Okay.
were already talking, but generally, I just wanted to speak from a general scheme of things. I think justice, the delivery of justice in our country, it's unfortunate that in its 21st century continue to be a challenge. I mean, these issues we saw evolving with the countries since independence and up to now, people in different parts of the country, that lady, her own situation is now being highlighted on places that close an argument, eventually may have their attention. But the access to justice around the country, I mean, especially outside of the spotlights, outside of the talking points in the media, it still continue a major challenge for our people. And I would think that as we desire to make progress in terms of our country, I think those are areas that fundamentally we must revisit and pay serious attention to. So I think it has become a norm. It has become a culture where justice is only available, particularly to those who are the influence and those who are the haves. So we think that's a serious issue Liberia need to pay attention to as well if we will make any progress. Justice must be available to all persons, regardless of status, regardless of wealth and everything. So I think that's from that point I will come from. And so if a lady is in jail for 3 months and having gone to a trial to determine her fate, having been convicted, but she's in jail for an offense that could either be bailable, for an offense that is not criminal. I mean, it's just sad that at this point in time, our justice system could be that blind, regardless of whether it was guilty or, but the fact that you will keep somebody in jail for that length of time without even going through a court process alone, that alone tells you where we are. It's equivalent to slavery.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad that such a thing will still be happening in Liberia. I hope it can awaken our own conscience as a people, as a government, and all of us to pay attention to that aspect of our governance process. So that's what I wanted to add to it in general.
I think that's well said. I mean, well said. I like what you said. Slavery. It really equivalent to slavery. That's a fact. Robert, you want to hop in here?
No, Doc. I'm not familiar with the particular case, so I'll pass on this one.
Okay.
Well, before we go, those of us who like to talk history, most of you may be very young and may not have known some of these stories, but you will have read about them. There was a famous case in Liberia, for those of us who are the progressives, know of a young man by the name of Joseph Pewee. Joseph Pewee was a kid that worked in the Lebanese store, and he was murdered. And the Lebanese guy said Joseph Pewee stole a candy from the store, and he choked him. And he told Joseph Pewee to spit the candy out. And he said Joseph Pewee wouldn't do it. He choked him to death. And the whole nation was outraged. And before the case could go to court, the Lebanese family absconded with the help of the hierarchies in government in Liberia. I'm saying this to say foreigners with money and wealth has always had a way in Liberia, even to the detriment of the poor. So when I'm hearing these things, I just want to put it into historical context because I think Robert Garguah wasn't born yet. So, but he's very sharp historically. I think he might have read it. Hamed, I think you might have heard about it. Pewee, if you were around, but then we all heard about Joseph Berry. That is a very, very famous case in Liberia. A young man that was killed by the Lebanese. And because the Lebanese family had clout and wealth, they were able to escape under the darkness of that thick fog in Liberia. And here we are again, another wealthy, rich, connected foreigner claimed that a Liberian burned part of his property or started a fire. How did he make that connection? That she did it? Well, most people say because she was inciting folks to protest and do this and that. So it may be her. That's the pretext. So I want to take off my hat to the closing argument for digging up and backing this. We are not saying she's innocent, but we are not saying she's guilty either. The pillar of the Liberian democracy is the process, due process of law. And Mr. Pewee, close on this one here, because when it comes to the due process, the process, like the Supreme Court just said, whoever you are, because the Constitution does not spell out what is majority, it's not in our Constitution, so there's no such thing as a majority bloc. And any majority can have the right to remove their speaker, but there's a process. You cannot circumvent the process. Due process of law is the pillar that holds us together. You cannot just grab somebody, put them in jail until the accuser allows her or him to get out. That's wrong. And I want to take off my hat to you guys for flagging this. Thank you.
All right, guys. Welcome.
That if you allow me just 1 minute, I don't, like I said, I don't know the details of the case, but with regards to how Liberians are treated in their own country, I don't think that is news to us, right? We can reference multiple cases where foreigners have come to Liberia, mistreated our people, and the justice system that is ran by one of us, that is ran by all of us, have under most circumstances supported the foreigner. I mean, recently a young lady, I forgot the girl's name, but a white man who came to Liberia as a missionary took advantage of a young lady and nearly killed her. That case was in court, and the judge, basically let him go free and flew back to the U.S. I think all of us are aware of the Myean case where Kehleboe ran over 19 schools with the government, right? Had a boyfriend who was a Liberian, there were no proper leadership structure in place to protect those young girls. And many of those young girls were brought into the school to prevent them from being raped, to prevent them from being hurt. And they came right into that trap where they were hurt. Multiple young girls were raped and abused. And this organization made millions of dollars internationally. We all know about the story. What became of that case? Nothing. The board ended up approving the school shut a few years ago, and that was the end of it. These girls did not get any compensation. Uh, uh, this is something that's going to traumatize them for the rest of their lives. No compensation whatsoever, and at the end of the day, they were made to return to the streets. Pretty much, many of whom did not have parents who were financially strong enough to take care of them, and so these things will continue to happen, I believe, um, because our government, our leaders, Dr. Peabody, have allowed them to happen. This is the same way we run our foreign affairs, foreign policy. We're more interested in what our allies' positions are as opposed to what interests the Liberian people, right? And so it's an unfortunate norm, right? Where foreigner, whether they're black or white, come into the country, misbehave, and they're more than likely to get away with things in Liberia that they know very well that they won't get away with in their own country. If that more than means a crime were to be committed in this country, we know the kind of money in civil lawsuits and criminal accountability that would have happened. But in Liberia, it goes like nothing. So it's unfortunate. I wish the young lady all the best of luck, but unfortunately, she's in a situation where her people don't really care about her.
All right, thank you, guys. Let me ask this question. They've been concerned that the First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, they have not seen her in action for a while. Do you guys know what's going on?
The first lady is an elderly woman, just like the president. And I'm sure that if the president was not the president, you probably would not have been seeing him a lot as well. These are old people, and I don't say that in any condescending or disrespectful way. It's as the truth. It's not an excuse as to why she won't, do her job as first lady, right? But I don't expect much of her. The few things that she's done has just been that, right? So she's in Liberia. I'm sure she's well. But what else will we expect her to be doing, other than just trying to get some rest and to make sure that she stays healthy? I don't expect anything else much of her, from her office, to be honest.
Anybody else got any information? It's been a while. We have not seen her in the public. We've seen nothing, don't nothing. Anybody know what's happening to our First Lady?
You say who?
The
Our
first,
First Lady.
your auntie, man, you from Lofa. You know what going on. Don't
Everybody like
Oh no. Listen. So no, that my uncle. No. It's not my auntie. It's my uncle wife, right? Because
okay.
traditionally the Kisi people are the general uncles in Lofa County, right? So
Okay.
they get respect, and that's my great uncle wife. So the Kisi man is my uncle. I'm a traditional Buze man. Right, so the Kissy man is my uncle. So she's not my auntie. It's any other word should be my auntie because my uncle wife also. Right. So, but yeah, but sometime a week and a half now. There was just information that she's not doing well. She went over to Accra, Ghana, to seek some medical attention. I think they were discussing it on somebody shared it on social media. Somebody I'm friend with on social media share a clip from Spoon FM. They were discussing on Spoon FM that she was not doing well, and it took off. She went to Ghana for medical treatment. That's all I know. Why is it that they say she's not yet back?
I'm not sure. We haven't seen her, but if that's the case, my prayers and thoughts and
Prayers and thoughts.
Best wishes are with her.
Prayer and thoughts.
I spoke to someone last night, and they told me that she is actually in Morocco. She was never in Ghana. It was just a transit point.
Okay.
Yes, that's what they said. But yes, I think Robert is right. When you in your 80s, right? I mean, those of us think we are young. Just imagine waking up in the morning is difficult. Just
Yeah,
imagine be 80 years old.
yeah,
So,
Who is 80 years old?
well, well, there was an Islamic scholar here that says the name Boyka derived from Abu Bakr. So, if I want to be respectful to Joseph Boyka, I should call him fully Abu Bakr. So, if your uncle Abu Bakr said he's 80, I want to believe his wife is either 80 or 79, something like
No,
that.
no, 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 no. He's seeing. I think he's seeing and his boys. She's not. She's not 80 yet. No.
Okay, but he's 80, so I want to
Yeah,
believe.
he's 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to believe they are partners and maybe they are peers. But even in your 70s,
Yeah, she should be her son is, but something that's a very senior age.
yes, that's so. At that age, people tend to get sicker.
yeah.
It's natural. That's the natural tendency. I don't care how we look at it. So the first lady being sick, I don't think anybody should hide it. Anybody can get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing these things because the politicians, the media people, just come out. Everybody can get sick. The person is sick. The person is sick. There's no way to go around it. I mean, they said the president had to leave the country, okay, on a darkness. And then when finally they were plagued, then he had to say he had to go see his wife in Ghana because she was sick. Why people have to dig for the information? This is how the innuendos and the gossip starts. Because if you are upfront and say, I'm going to see my wife, the first lady is sick, I'm going to see her. Everybody knows my wife is sick. I definitely want to see her, no matter what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but Gimma, you don't think folks trying to just politicize this process and something, and that's the unfortunate thing about us. We politicize every damn thing, right? So, and people try to just politicize this thing, right? And the old president wanted to cover up that. I don't think those things happen. They just try to politicize it. It's Liberia, and we are so insensitive, and we don't even know when to talk politics. We're so very insensitive, and when it comes to those things, for me, I don't like even that to dive into it because the way they try to ship it and try to just bring politics on it.
Pewee, a real question for you. Who is Joseph Boyka? Is he a politician?
You asking me?
Yeah, is Joseph Boyka a politician?
But I want you to answer the question you asked me.
The reason I'm asking, if a preacher, he's ordained, he's supposed to be a preacher. Everything he does, it has something to do with preaching. If you are a politician, your career is politics.
No, he's a deacon. He's a deacon. No, he's a deacon in the Upper Baptist Church.
I understand, but when you are a politician, everything around you is about politics.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying to
you can't say the man is a medical doctor. He practicing medicine. He doing medicine. That's his job.
Yeah, I agree. What I'm saying to you and myself, we should not politicize everything. Something that should not be. The nature we want to tell me to do because they agree. I can come down with headache. You will come down with headache and other things. It may not be bonpo of that kind of a hard structure. If anything is unfolding, we tend to do it. But the thing I would discuss in the kind of life, I hear that the first lady is sick, or even the president is sick, or whosoever, God forbid, the first thing I would say is best wishes instead of trying to police. If somebody even a couple of dark and do best wishes, Madam First Lady. Wish you speedy recuperation and the nation move. We are in thoughts and prayer with you. Then someone saying someone left on the shield of darkness and the rest of that. No, it's not the kind of politics. I'm going in the front. That's all.
But I concur. But my thing is, I am taken aback by the fact that the country should not, Dr. Peabody and others, all of us should not be asking the whereabouts of the first lady. There's nothing wrong with being sick. The issue is that I think those who are in the care of the I think that both the president and the first lady have politicized illness, right, unnecessarily. We all know that they are older people. We all know that they get sick. By the way, we all get sick. But when the president is ill, when the first lady is ill and out of the country, I think it's important that the country knows that there should be a statement from the first lady's office that she's seeking medical attention, be it in Morocco, they don't have to go in details as to, the issues, but the country should be aware that the first lady has traveled outside of the country on medical attention. The fact that they was secretly, get out Liberia, and people are asking where is the first lady. I don't think that transparency. If the president is sick and the president needs to be out the country for medical support, we should know that. There'll be lots of questions about why is the first lady seeking medical attention away from Liberia, which raises questions about the quality of our own healthcare. That's the political side of it, and people have the right to say, listen, I don't think that the president or the first lady should be going outside the country for medical attention when mothers her age are dying of possibly similar illnesses. Those are valid conversations we can have, but I don't think it negate the fact that, or that we should know the first lady is in that position because the people entrusted the country in the hands of her husband. She is, we should know where she's at. We should know where she's at. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't want her to be sick. I wish her well, speedy recovery. Great. But why do they have to secretly hide this stuff? Why should we not know that she's out on medical attention, Sylvester? So
no. So the question, I mean, don't be asking me this question. Is the whole process, are they doing it is this surreptitious?
Yes.
No, that's what I'm saying. So if they are doing it in a kind of most surreptitious way,
yeah, because no one knows. No one knows.
It's unfortunate, but you struck a very important point.
Let's welcome our only female here.
You struck an important point by saying the level of how the people politicize it by saying, hey, if the first lady is moving out to seek medical attention outside the country, while our mothers, grandmothers seeing the country, that's a valid point. Honestly, and that's part of the reason why our husband pushed to say he come to rescue the country. Part of the rescue agenda was to improve in our health sectors. Like, for instance, the JFK should have been admitted in the JFK, or the 14 military hospital, or the Emory Hospital in Peabody, and the rest of that. From that perspective, it's good. But I didn't know they're trying to do it like a zoo business on a cover thing. If it is done that way, it's unfortunate. And now that the president is not well, because our medical facility is not good, she went out for medical treatment. Tell the people that. I said, okay, we will have to improve the medical. I mean, if you would communicate that way with the Liberian people, you will have mitigated a lot of things instead of hiding. I don't know they're doing it Jumoku way on a serious note. That's not the intent was not to sorry, but I thought we shouldn't politicize in terms of when someone is sick, it shouldn't be deeply politicized. But if they created the scene, then the public will have to go and discuss that.
Let me welcome our only female panelist here, Ms. Grace Guar, and the national chairman for the CMC party.
Welcome, Ms. Grace.
Welcome, Grace.
Let me join back to Peabody.
She's not just Miss Grace. She's
chairman.
Oh, her title. Oh my God, her title.
Chairman Chris.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, I have people that can actually test me on Chairman Grace. I said, well, what do they calling me Chairman Grace?
Because you're the chair USA CMC.
Yeah. So welcome, Grace. Grace, you've been following the story. Before we jump into other part, it been moved that a month. The first lady had not appeared. There are rumors going around that she's not well. We wish her good luck. Some say she's in Ghana. Some say they flew her from there. Some say President Baka went on the last trip to Ghana on a private trip. He was going to see her and all of that. So you want to chime in. I don't know what's going on, but at least the Liberian people who are folding the bill of the first lady should be made aware of what's going on, that she's not well and she traveled to the country. That's pretty much stuff like that.
Thanks, guys, for being here. I would like to say it's a pleasure always to be among you guys. CMC is moving strong, USA diaspora, and I hope you guys can hit me up if you want to be a part of us, and so I can vet you and bring you on. But concerning the first lady, the role of the first lady office is very, very important. And I don't like people to think that when we ask questions concerning our leaders is a problem. In any civilized country, you're supposed to make sure that the information is going out to the people so they can know what's going on. But Katumu Baka is MIA. I mean, the woman cannot be seen anywhere. Nobody knows where she is. She hasn't spoken in months, or maybe it's not maybe few weeks. Let's say 6 weeks straight. Nobody have heard from the first lady. And the office is very crucial when it comes to the presidency. The first lady office is crucial. This woman is supposed to be out here with a public engagement, engaging the market women, advocating with women. Look at what happened with the Miss Liberia or saga that's out here. She's supposed to be able to engage that, find out what really going on. Maybe her office try to even mentor that young lady because she went, on the left, doing something that's not representing the country. It has to do with country, so she has to be a part. This one's supposed to be supporting the president. The last time they said she wanted to support businesses, he wanted to support a business, and she was nowhere to be found. She's supposed to be even heading dinners. You remember when we were growing up, Victoria Toba? How she carried herself poised. So if we don't see the first lady, it's our right to ask about the first lady. It's nothing politics. Prince William, UK, the King of London, the Prince, one of them, his wife had cancer. They had to come out to the public and make a real statement about a kid that she was not well. She was going through a treatment for cancer, and that's why she was missing. Even the great United States and the great United Kingdom, they made a whole facade with the thing that the kid was missing. They were not seeing her. The people talk about it. The media talk about it consistently until the people had to come and say, oh, kid is going through. She was diagnosed with cancer and this and that and the other. She had to write for her sick bed to tell the people that, she was responding to treatment. That's how a normal situation in a society is. This is nothing about politics. We need to know our first lady, where she is, what is going on with her. Regardless if she's sick and did not take treatment in the country, that's okay. Maybe the treatment she was supposed to take in the country is not in the country right now. It's understandable. Although we hope that they could fix things for it to happen. But if the first lady is not around and we're not seeing her, we will ask questions. And that's what the people are asking. Where is Katuma Baka, the first lady of the Republic of Liberia? She is not out here presenting herself as the first lady. The country, her office is not saying anything. The press is silent. Nobody knows what the woman is. The media is not telling us anything. The media with the government now, LBS, all those people, they are not seeing anything. It's like a secret. Why is it everything a secret with this country? The government officials, they refuse to talk to the media. They don't want to talk. They feel pompous. You ask for the first lady, they say, oh, no, don't ask for the first lady. Then why are you in power? Because when you're in power, the people will ask for you. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what you're doing. They will criticize you. They will talk when something is not right. So to the government of Liberia and to the first lady's office, we are hoping that you will make a statement. Katuma Baka is missing. We, the Liberians, are worried. The women of Liberia want to know what's going on with Katuma Baka so they can keep her in prayers. If she is sick, if not, if anything else, we need to tell the public. Thank you.
All right, let's hear from Sidiki, and then we will Anthony here, and then we'll go on to the next topic. There's one story that is coming up with one of the representatives who I think summoned the police director for either stopping him, but I'll read the whole story to you guys after. But let the guy chime in. Then from there on the first lady action from the public. Sidiki, you want to share? Oh, Sidiki is off. Okay. Go ahead, Anthony.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back, and good evening to our follower listeners on the radio as well. It is unofficial. I overheard that the first lady was seeking treatment in Ghana. I'm not a government spokesperson, but that's what I heard for over 6 weeks. Something in that line. But I'm not a government spokesperson. Everybody knows that. And
damn, for over 6 weeks?
Yeah, about 6 weeks, thereabout.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, in Ghana. So that's how long it has been. and the First Lady has not been feeling well. But I'm not the official spokesperson, but the person who said this is actually close to the administration. So until the administration can announce that publicly, that's just my understanding of the whole situation.
Well, Doc, before you move on, there was a radio show that made that question why the president was leaving the country on a darkness. Somebody saw the charter flight leave, and then Kula Fofana had to come public to address the nation that the president didn't abscond, the president didn't just leave. He left. It was an emergency. His wife is sick, and he went to visit the first lady. So that was public. The presidential press secretary addressed that directly. That yes, the president did leave, but it was impromptu. He had to leave. He left to go and see his wife. She's getting medical attention in Ghana. So this was not innuendo. It wasn't gossip. This is what Kula Fofana addressed the nation about 6 weeks ago. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Gamer. I didn't see that press conference, but at least
Yes.
you're saying something.
Yes.
All right, guys. Let's move on.
I would like to make a point, Henry. Before
Mhm.
they addressed that to say the president was leaving, it was the right thing for them to do to also say when the first lady was sick. So when the president had left, the people are not going to be too concerned knowing that he's going to visit his wife. So the first lady office still need to speak to the public what is really going on with the first lady.
Yeah, I think those things are not secret. Like Ben always say, people don't get pregnant from the back; they get pregnant from the front. And and when those you can hide it all you can, but then it's gonna come up one day. And sure, I think the Liberian people should know what's going on because they are footing this bill of the first lady. Medical bills and everything, the taxpayer, and it's important to just let them know. But our thoughts. Anybody want to share something? Sidiki want to share something before we move on? Our prayers and thoughts and best wishes with the first lady. So.
I think enough has been said about that. Many of which I do agree. If it is the case that the government has announced that she wasn't feeling too well, she of course can be a grandmother. So all we can do is to extend speedy recovery and wish that she's well. In this regard, that's I think the most I can comment on. But it draws an important point when it comes to the issue of our health sector, not necessarily about the first lady being sick, but it just draws an important point to our health sector, which continues to be a challenge. The other day I was reading about a story where it says a guy, I think with some colleague last name or so, was purporting to be a doctor, and to the extent that he carried on operation on somebody. I mean, that's carry on operation. I think the person either died or so, for which he's being charged now for manslaughter or something like that. That's how vulnerable that sector is, So, of course, in the context of our general health sector, is something that will require a complete commitment, intent from government in addressing that, and out of us in that era, because no matter what, a nation is nothing more than what it's the health of its citizens. And right now, of course, Liberia is in a dream when it comes to that sector. So I think that's generally all we want to say. Whether it was the first lady, whether it was ordinary person, sincerely, at this point, the sector in Liberia would not allow anybody, whether you're in government or once you can afford, to see a loved one go there, to admit to that system, because obviously you're not too sure whether they will get a proper care. So that is something we need to be intentional about. That is something we need to pay attention to. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for a very long time. So I think that's all. I just want to contribute and wish our first lady well, if at all the government has announced that she's indeed on ongoing medical treatment.
Well, thank you, thank you. God, let's move on to this. Actually, Tune was trying to get him on today, but we apologize to our listening audience and to our viewers that we couldn't bring him on today. But it's a case of Anthony, Representative Anthony F. Williams, District Number 2, Maryland County. There are reports that he's summoning the police director today because they kind of stopped his car. I'm not sure how the report came up, but it said for allegedly they were engaged in the major altercation with Melvin Gray, Superintendent of Police Melvin Gray today. Because let me read it. Let me make sure I can read the whole thing. Uh, due to an alleged issue with his vehicle lesson plate. And then he kind of summoned the police chief because they stopped his car and all of that. I just want you guys to chime in. Sylvester, I want you to start because you have no more about these things. What's this? What is that? I mean, you summoned the police chief for that?
Again, I'm a little bit baffled by that. I thought the comrade is a comrade, a dear friend comrade. I don't know if it is true. Again, and I was safe on this land to not openly rebuke him for that. I'm just hearing. I need to hear both sides first and foremost. But before the Constitution is clear as to how you can impede legislative function, and that can lead to you being summoned by the legislature if he was going to work or coming from, because anything that will impede the legislative performance of an individual lawmaker, that is tantamount to undermining his functions at the legislature. So that anybody that would do that will come in direct conflict with that, can be summoned by the legislature to provide reasons why he should not be held in contempt. So we will have to, as indicated, was his vehicle probably flagged out for traffic violations? That's one of the things we need to go through first. Was the vehicle, was the police officer performing his responsibility in keeping with his statutory role as a police officer? Because in the vehicular traffic and vehicle law of our republic, a police officer can arbitrarily, I use this word, the emphasis on the word arbitrarily, because there have been a debate on this particular thing before as to how lawmakers can hold people in contempt. There was a time, all of the time, lawmakers will just abrogate unto themselves those kind of power to just summon government officials or other public individuals of using the word impeding legislative function. So if this process was conducted by the police officer in keeping, because lawmakers can be arrested for breach of the peace. It's clear. It's clear. It can be arrested for breach of the peace. So if this vehicle or whosoever that was conducting the vehicle, meaning driving the vehicle, the chauffeur on that vehicle violated the rule of the traffic, the police officer got the right to pull him over. Now, if the lawmaker, is inside the vehicle, and then if you didn't approach the police officer that I'm going to session, but if you are going to session and violate the law, you can be apprehended by the law. So I wouldn't spend much time on this. That's why I say if it is true that the comrade did that, because he's famous of always saying one day. When you're struggling here, that is statement that one day. When Buffer Chambers beat him the first time, one day. Today, the day is here, comrade. I don't think we will have to use it in the way we're using it. But again, I'm saying it with my hands up, waiting to raise the white flag if I'm wrong. But if the police officer pull him over for violation of traffic and vehicular laws, the police officer is very much correct, very well correct. So I thought the news of that was not only arbitrary. If it is true, that was a blatant violations of the power of the contempt legislative power that they enjoy. So I think we have to wait and go into the details first. I wanted to know if the police officer pulled him over for a reason, and that reason is in line with the Constitution or the constitutional process.
Anybody else, Mr. Gilman and Robert?
You know, the country is the country is so backwards. Wow, which I don't think that, you know, a lawmaker should be an exemplary of the law.
Thank you.
He or she should be an example of the law when it comes to upholding the law. These are crafter of laws. And so, you know, the fact that you think that position somehow excuse you from upholding the law baffles me. You know, just because you are a representative or just because you are a lawmaker does not mean you get separate treatment under the law when it comes to traffic violations. You know, in this country, a police officer can pull any lawmaker over for traffic violations, and the fact that those folks will summon anyone for doing their job speaks to, you know, how lawless we are. It also speaks to the fact that, you know, our lawmakers have no respect for police officers. And if our lawmakers have no respect for police officers, then what do you think will happen to folks who are not in their position? You know, this idea that because you are someone, because you are a minister, because you are a lawmaker, because you know the president, somehow makes you above the law is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's absurd. And so, you know, if I was that police officer, I think it's time we really start taking serious actions against our elected and appointed officials in Liberia. This is the reason why the law, no one respects anything in the country, because people feel as though if you have money, there's nothing wrong with having money, and if you felt like, you know, someone violated you, take them to court. Use your money, get a lawyer, and let that person represent you. But this whole idea that because you're a lawmaker, you will drive a vehicle without a driver's without a tag, that you would drive a vehicle and you don't have to have a driver's license, that you would drive a vehicle and drive onto oncoming traffic. We got to stop these things. These lawmakers should be an example of the law, how they conduct themselves, you know, because people are looking up to them. Our young boys and our young girls are looking up to these people, not just them. People who have the public space, people who have platforms, people who are supposed to people are looking up to us. So you can't. I would be ashamed if I were to be driving a vehicle and a police officer pulled me over and I didn't have the requisite documentation. If I need to get a ticket, I'll get a ticket. Go to court, pay the fine. But because they're a lawmaker, do you know who I am? I'm a lawmaker. Why? How dare you pull me over? How dare you give me a ticket? Because you broke the damn law. That's why. And you shouldn't be. So it's an embarrassment, Dr. Peabody. And it's a serious embarrassment that in this 21st century, people don't see it as a privilege to be in the public space. It's a privilege. It's not a right. It's not a right that you were selected amongst thousands of people to represent your country, to represent your people. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And these privileges have been abused because these guys don't know any better. They don't know any better. They don't know, you know, the kinds of responsibility that they're under to be a full example of the law. It's sad. It's sad.
Dr. Peabody, quickly for the quickly so that we have understanding of this whole thing, and that's why I want to first say I'll update the disclaimer. So just a minute, it's Article 44 of the Constitution of Liberia. Contempt of the legislature. The contempt of the legislature shall consist of action which obstruct the legislative function or which obstruct or impede members or officer. Members or officer will include those that work with them. Member or officer of the legislature in the discharge of their legislative duties and may be punished by the house concerned by reasonable sanction after a hearing consistent with the due process of law. No sanction shall extend beyond the section of the legislature wherein it is imposed, and any sanction imposed shall conform to the provision of the fundamental rights laid down in the Constitution. Now, dispute, something Rawa said, dispute between legislators and non-member, which is properly cognizable in the court, shall not be heard in the legislative chambers. Meaning, confusion between a lawmaker and non-member, that should not come within the process of contempt of the legislature. They should go to court and adjudicate that matter.
I'm glad you said that word because I was waiting to say. But thank you. Now I'm glad you made that clarification because I was going to speak.
It's not me making it. It's the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. So
the fact that
so it's wrong. They can
right.
use it.
So the fact that they even summoned this guy also shows that it exposes the fact that these guys don't even know their job.
Correct.
They are not familiar with the Constitution and what rights it gives them, or at what point they are exempted from.
No, Rao, don't get it wrong. He may be right. The officer may be wrong. He may be right. But what really happened? I want to know.
No, but it's a perfect. No, I don't. Right. Yeah, but even without knowing the details, Sylvester, I don't even think that it's a question about who was right and who was wrong. If it's a traffic violation, let's assume he was getting late for work.
Yes.
And he decided to, violate traffic. It's still wrong. If you got to be at work at 8 a.m., for instance, or 9 a.m., we all are responsible.
He's very wrong. I agree with you. He's wrong.
Give yourself enough time to go to work. So for him to even argue, well, because I was stopped, driving on the 4th lane or driving onto oncoming traffic, I'm trying to get to work and I'm supposed to be at work at 9 a.m. And so somehow that impedes my legislative responsibility. It still doesn't make no sense. If you got to be at work at a certain time and you know that there's traffic around that time, give yourself enough time to get to work peacefully and safely. You can risk other people's lives because you're a lawmaker. Somehow means you can just bulldoze through traffic and you can do that. So from our indications, he's wrong. And the fact that they even had this man going to the Capitol Hill to answer questions about this tells you that these guys don't understand the Constitution. They don't understand the law. And that's the reason why they continue to violate the very law that they should be upholding. And it's an embarrassment.
All right, let's bring other people in. Let's bring Rich, Siddiqui, and Anthony in to chime in this before we Mr. Gimme already spoke. So let's move on. Great.
Well, no one's above the law. So if that's the same reason why we're having the issue that we have in the House of Representatives right now, because the groups are divided because of the same law. So no one's above the law. Now, I don't know why he was stopped. So maybe he feels that maybe the police violated him. That's why he took them. That's why they summoned the police to whatsoever. But at the same time, if it's traffic and he violated the law while in traffic, at that time they look at him as a regular citizen. He is a regular citizen and they will arrest him because of that. So, no one's above the law until Liberian government officials start to learn that no one's above the law. When you commit a crime, if you commit a violation, you are supposed to be arrested or you are supposed to be given tickets. So the police were doing the right thing at that point in time if there was a violation committed. So I hope that they will resolve this so they can send a message, because sometimes when we travel to Liberia, we in the traffic, especially in that sinkhole, the people coming, the government official then taking the other lane that the opposite lane, and people's lives are at risk when they do that. So they're not supposed to be doing those things. That's my take on it.
Siddiqui, coming, and then let's go to Anthony.
Yes, the story hasn't been told, and so I wouldn't speculate a lot on that. But just from picking back on some of the things other panelists said, particularly so when Pastor read the Constitution, I think one fundamental issue that hasn't really been applied or understood, particularly so with guys in the legislature, when they talk about this impeding function. I think as the Constitution really says, it must be an action, and every action must have an intent. So it's not sufficient for me to, it's not just sufficient to say the man pull a black card that prevented me from going. There must be an established intent that the purpose for which you put the card to stop from going was to prevent you from going to session, particularly so when perhaps your presence in session will influence a particular bill or something. So it's not just sufficient that, to say there's an action that impedes, but we must, because for a crime to be committed, it must have both the action and the intent. And I think oftentimes that's what is missing when our lawmakers tend to crowd on that impede by function and stuff like that. But most important, as a politician, I wouldn't know why would you want to even get into the public discussion with the issue of you don't think you should be part of those who should be held liable for violating travel law. How can a politician want to be in that discussion? Particularly so when you're part of a group of people who happen to be among the most unpopular group of people in the country, lawmakers and officials of government. Why will you? And then thirdly, it brings into focus what are the priority discussions of our lawmakers. How is it do you make the issue of a single lawmaker being issued a ticket for violating travel an entire plenary discussion? When of course perhaps either the administrator from the legislature could just make a simple inquiry as to what really happened. But you make that an issue of discussion and form part of plenary discussion that it is my understanding over 30 to 35 or some 25 or more lawmakers had some comment on that issue. So it tells you what become the priority conversation of our leaders. What do you put in to discuss? So it's unfortunate that this particular issue could form a part of the national discussion. What do you do with it? It means that if it went any other way, you send a message to the next police officer that you can't get big, quote unquote, B-man ticket. Then it highlights that our justice system, continue to be one of patronage, which is unfortunate. And it can't be like that. It can't be like that. So we hope to know what the actual story behind this is, and we hope that our lawmaker will have very important priority issue to focus on. And I think politically that was a misstep on the part of the lawmaker who will allow such a violation to become a national conversation on with him.
Okay. Wow. Anthony.
Yeah, Dr. Peabody, I'm sitting here and I'm angry, I'm upset at the same time. But I want to say this. I read a letter from plenary. The clerk of the House of Representatives sent out a letter to the IG requesting the officer who issued a ticket. The representative vehicle has no license plate, whether front or back. In Liberia, you are required to have both license plates, the front and the back. Or like in the United States, in other states like Pennsylvania, you only require one. Some states you require two, like New Jersey, and so on and so forth. In Liberia, you are required to have two license plates, front and back, and they have to be legible according to the act that created, the Division of Motor Vehicle. We have the Ministry of Transport, and that under that division, Division of Motor Vehicle has traffic rules and regulations. This representative, unfortunately, was plying the streets with no license plate, either front or back. I want to commend that police officer for mustering the courage to do the right thing. He issued the representative a ticket, and the representative got angry why he has to get a ticket. Now, currently, as we speak, our lawmaker passed a law in Liberia that allowed them to drive on the opposite side of the lane that, like in the sixth grade just alluded to earlier, that they drive on the opposite side of the lane. Quote unquote is called a tail lane. I've spoken against this thing over and over, but here's what I've done. I've written a letter now, and I have to send it directly to the Supreme Court now. I don't know if being outside of the country, if you address a letter to the Supreme Court, if they will look into that matter. I don't know the process into that, but I got to speak to a lawyer that practicing law in Liberia to see. There is a clear law on the books that you cannot pass a law that contravenes the Constitution and that also put other people in danger. Since that law was passed, there are so many accidents, including the former Speaker, Buffer Chimmer, hit somebody's vehicle the other time when he was then Speaker of the House of Representatives. Severe injury happened to the individual vehicle and all vehicles that got involved with that particular accident. Many people have lost their lives to this same, driving on the opposite lane, quote unquote, tail lane. All lawmakers today, not single one of them, drive regularly. When they go into work, they all drive on the opposite side of the street so that they can get to work on time. And most of the other pen rider and other keke rider now, they also have, sirens and everything on that vehicle and or on a motorbike and a tricycle, whatnot, and they can be driving like that in Liberia. I've seen it myself. So yes, this police officer mustered the courage and gave a ticket. I have in possession of the letter from the clerk that says that the police officer should show up, including the IG, as to why that happened. I mean, no one should be going to plenary, like Siddiqui just said, because they issue a lawmaker a ticket. Are there not important things in Liberia to discuss in plenary? Why should a ticket issue to a man who violated traffic rule? How can you plow the streets without a registered tag? The tag informed the police officer that the vehicle is registered or not. You don't have a tag. We don't know who is in this car. So, I mean, Liberia continue to prove to us that, hey, outside of election and abiding by the rules and regulations for electoral process, all other democratic tenets have been thrown away. Liberia is only recognized for having free, fair, and transparent election on paper. But are those things really happening? No. Why should you plow the streets without a license plate on your vehicle? He's not the first person. Other lawmakers have done similar things. But this is the first time a police officer mustered the courage to give a certain lawmaker a traffic violation ticket, especially not having a license plate. So I want to commend that police officer. I think our team need to reach out to him so he can come on the show and so people can recognize, see his face, and also applaud the work that he did. Because this is not common in Liberia. People will start you try to do the right thing, they will silence you for just doing the right thing. And look at what they did to this man. For doing his job, now he been summoned, including the IG, to go to plenary. That is just so embarrassing. And I think I will share that the people that'll go off and share that letter with you from plenary. Because this is sad. Plenary actually wrote from the clerk of the House of Representatives wrote. That is sad for our nation.
What block is this guy part of? What block is he part of? Is he part of this?
Oh, he's part of the majority block.
I see why.
Yeah, he's part of the majority block.
I see why, because the feel that they have.
I think his name is Belfin, something like that. He's part of the majority block.
And this is a guy that Chairman Kopa helped in Maryland to beat Buffer Chimmo. Chairman Kopa gave him a lot of assistance, and we saw his ungratefulness just turning again. So all of them feel they got the executive in the side so they can do anything they want to do in terms of breaking the law of the country. They already broke the law. He's from a law-breaking group, so he's breaking the law. They all from the, so they don't care. They don't regard the law. But with that said, what is taking the Supreme Court this long, Sylvester, to come up with a decision? Why?
Come again?
What is it the Supreme Court is taking this long to come up with an interpretation?
So this whole thing, and again, we all been time to time saying here that the entire thing is unfolding. Speaker and his, the Kun is not the appropriate. He's a renegade speaker and the rest of that. But the fact that the government on the ground that control the poise is supporting that side. So the court is being, and trust me, the decision coming up, the fact that we're saying this thing, the decision coming for the court will be more complicated again. The decision that will come from the court in maybe tomorrow or next week. It can be, I don't think it'll be tomorrow, but next week. I don't hope for the court will be next week. Or if it drag on, then I mean it's somehow politically motivated. So the court, they would say something to us that will need more clarity again. It's going to be we're in a very convoluted situation that I found it very difficult at where we're going to be soon. The court, the fact that because the bill information should not take long.
I'll tell you.
But the court will come out and they give an opinion on that.
Right.
The court should have come out clearly and said to us what we said last time, ultra virus, meaning what you're doing, it is constitutionally wrong.
One day.
Right? And this is. You don't have to say. Now, what the court will be mindful not to do is to act that they're taking side. You don't have to do that, but you can interpret the law for the people so that people will have a clear understanding of the law. But I'm inclined to believe that what is going to unfold in terms of understanding the way our government system is being working and the politics that the ruling establishment is trying to push on those people, the court will be very unambiguous. They will be ambiguous again, right? They won't be unambiguous as we anticipate, right? So that's my constraint here. But because better information is in no time, they will come and give the people information. And I think the court should be firm enough because the court is the party that preserves our democracy. They are the arm of government that preserves the democracy. If everything goes wrong, helter-skelter, they try to come and strike the balance, the most delicate balance that they will strike to stabilize the country moving forward. But if they be part of the destabilizing forces, if you will, then the country is done. And that's what we need. We really need some interpretation here, but again, it may just be a kind of a lukewarm interpretation that may push us again to call for the Basel man in Florida to help out with the interpreter. This time we're not going to be the justice minister. We're not going to be the justice minister, but we'll call on the
You see what Basel people do to this? We get your land. You didn't have nowhere to stay. You were homeless.
Listen, and the reason why we're calling on you now because you're the land owner. So tell us
what's wrong?
We gave you land. We gave you land. You are ungrateful. Then you said we give it to you for a small fee. We didn't give us no small fee. Nothing.
If we cannot do it from Florida, then we'll go to the celebrities state of Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
If we get interpretation from there.
We'll be waiting for you. But Dr. Peabody.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to the history way back. There was a politician by the name of Robert G. Ingersoll. And during the debate during the election of Abraham Lincoln, he said this.
Sylvester, you got mute.
Yeah, my charger line giving problem, man. Sorry.
Okay. So the gentleman used these words. He said, all men can stand adversity. But if you want to truly test the character of a man, give him power.
Abraham Lincoln.
They made a mistake. The guy heard this particular quote during the Lincoln debate. So what they did was they attributed that to Abraham Lincoln, but wasn't Abraham Lincoln. But Abraham Lincoln took credit now.
He already took credit.
Politicians, painter, artists will take other people's credit. But anyhow, this is what we are talking about. A gentleman that Buffer Chamber, the CDC, the people that put money, brought him out of obscurity to get to where he is, a man from way behind Guar back. Kepamas. Hey, I'm sorry, oh, my people. You're from Kepamas here. You're from Maryland. Maryland, no, you don't come Victor Nagwe. And Her Excellency, when you hear me say H.E. Grace, Her Excellency. So there's a man that they brought and made who what he is today. And you think he will come from a great state like Maryland and stand on the shoulders of great men and women from that state or from that county to defend the Constitution. But he's here abusing the pillars of our democracy, the law officers, the people who are actually the implementer of the law. You can write the law, but somebody has to implement the law, and that's the job of the executive. And the police officer is an extension of the executive, only doing what he's supposed to do. When I was in Liberia, just recently when Dr. Peabody was in Liberia, people were telling us, don't expose the man, don't let us know where he's at, don't tell his location. In your own country, where you're doing good on behalf of the people, people are warning us, please don't tell where he is. When I was in Liberia a few weeks ago, I saw these cars with no place in the front or back. And I got scared because we were hearing black car will show up at your door some night and arrest you and carry you. And then the guy said, oh no, these guys this is the representative car. So because he's a representative, whether it is midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, he's going on his whatever. He can do whatever he wants, even when Congress is not in session. Weekends, holidays, wherever. The man is the representative of District Number 4, and he were in Montserrat District Number 4, and he in Grand Bassa County, and we should still treat him because he is a guy who says he's a congressman driving with no plates, and a policeman doing his job. Instead of rewarding him, recognizing him for doing his work, like the Constitution says, anything outside of Congress between a congressional delegation or representative and the citizen, that is a case that belongs to the civil society. The Congress has no power. But again, these people, they have, when we're talking about assaultion, you assault people, you take people, you take it by force. That's what it is. So, Dr. Peabody, those of you who are in the clergy, and we love to pray. I don't know whether prayer can help because we've been praying for 203 years. So, that's not my area, but I'm just saying that we've been praying. Liberia is a nation of prayer and prayer warriors of all kinds. There is a church in that place. There is a church on every block now. Mark Jabate has made sure that there's an equal mosque in every corner you can find about. That's one of the job he's doing at the ministry there. That's all he does. Go all over the place. He planting mosques. So when it comes to prayer, we got them everywhere, from Bapolu to Grand Bassa. We got them.
They got so many churches in Liberia there.
Yeah.
Nobody should go to hell.
No, there should be no sinner in that country. No
churches and schools in Liberia.
So it is a shame when we have guests in the country and they really, and somebody was on here yesterday, I think the ambassador, talking about we, the Liberian, we love to put negative news about our country. We are putting negative news about our country. Is it our country? Are we doing it, or are we just reporting and just commenting on what they are doing? A congressman driving with no license plate, front or back, and then someone pulls him over. He deals with that person. Not only did he deal with him, but summon him to the wells of Congress to be humiliated that he's nobody. This is wrong, and I'm glad that you flagged it, but it's just not right.
Wow. Can you imagine? Chris, go ahead. Can you imagine? Like Sylvester said, this man is from the majority block, the same block that is breaking the law right now. Then we go to the Supreme Court for a simple interpretation. It's going, it's just dragging and dragging and dragging and dragging. So you wonder whether the Supreme Court is even capable of interpreting the laws of Liberia. I mean, I don't know, but I was just wondering if they if they even have the credibility to even do things, because I don't. They should not be taking long. There should not be any interference from the executive anywhere. But I didn't worry about getting their pay or getting their because at the hearing the chief justice calls for maximum protection. Well, all those things. I mean, to run a decision, you think people are going to come after you and do certain things? Well, if you're doing what is right within the law, I don't think anybody should be afraid to say that they need this maximum protection, they need this, they need that. What's going on, Grace? What is wrong? Because it seems like prayer has not worked, because we got more churches in Liberia than even the citizen of Liberia. What's going on?
Yeah, I respect the the prayers of the Liberian people. I really do respect even when back in the day, the way our parents and other Liberians, they used to pray and talk to the president, give him information about what's going to occur in the country. Some of those things came to pass. So, we're not sitting there take the press for granted, but at the same time, the world has changed a whole lot. So people are not just trying to abide by the words of God anymore. And so it makes it even harder for, the press or the Christian and the Muslims and all the other religion for God. Maybe God just don't want to even accept our prayers anymore because of the sinful nature of the people. So we'll continue to tell our people to continue to pray for the nation. They shouldn't stop, and they shouldn't mind what's going on in the country right now. Liberia will be delivered. Liberia is going to be delivered. The time will come. And we hope that we all live to see, the deliverance of that country. But what is going on with the House and with the Supreme Court, I believe in the Supreme Court. I think they will do the right thing this time. I think they did the right thing, but they're a separate part of government, so they interpreted the law. It left for the people who are there to make the law to abide by it. The Chief Justice came and just destroy everything when he interpreted the law the wrong way, just because they wanted for a budget to pass. That's why I think they did that. Okay, the budget has passed. All of y'all finna getting what you're supposed to get. Y'all do the right thing now and reconcile the House. That's the right thing to do. But I think right now they are on recess, right? So maybe it will take another 2 or 3 weeks for them to come to a reconciliation, and it will take that time for the Supreme Court to come up with what they have to say. In actuality, the Supreme Court already had done that. The people already said that this thing is wrong. What they're doing, they interpret the law for them that this is not the right way to proceed with removing a speaker. They should go back to status quo and do what it's supposed to do. So when they come up with their final judgment, let's see what the House of Representatives will be able to do to bring peace to the nation, because this thing is bringing our country backwards. And we're calling on Richard Kuhn to do the right thing. I don't know who's telling you what to do, but you need to do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, your name is going to be smeared in the dirt, in the Duchess, and people will look at you, your generation to come, that you brought confusion in the country. Do the right thing. Let the place be peaceful so our country can move forward. We are way behind already. We don't want to keep lacking, and taking away from our people. The people are suffering. Even there's a lady I saw an interview in Douala. They were opening, they were trying they want to expand the road, which is very good of this Baka government. Want to expand the roads, make them 2 lanes, for the lanes to be wider and stuff. And the lady in the market, telling her market, she said she's been there for 6 years, and she said, you know what? We're just behind. It's what the government want. We want to put to develop the country. So the people are willing to do anything for the country to move forward. She said, I will put my tail behind. The government just do the right thing and they have to develop the country so we can live here in peace and, and live in a developed country. We too want to experience that. We want to, when we enter Nigeria, we go to Ghana, we go to Senegal and the Ivory Coast. we see the great development in that country because the people learn to work along with one another. But you take all 6 months already making flour and money. You said you're pregnant with me. You know, you're women making flour and money. I said, how men cannot resolve that kind of problem? They said they know how to settle everything. I bet there was a women group of people in that house. This problem is going to be solved ever since. So yes, I have to put that out there. So you need to fix that particular chaos and you keep our country moving. Thank you.
Robert.
Rob, before you come in quickly, that everybody, you guys took notice of the Supreme Court, the letter from the clerk citing Kun. The clerk of the Honorable Supreme Court is recognizing for the first time Kohen Honorable Speaker. Did you guys take notice of that letter that just came out 2 days ago or so? I just talked to him. Rob, you can go ahead. Yes.
Listen,
I didn't see that letter. Do you have a copy?
No, I'll try. I saw it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let's see it.
listen.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
I love God, and I know that God is the reason first for which we are all here, and He gets all of the glory for all of our successes. But prayer is not a substitute for foolishness.
Thank you.
Prayer is not a substitute for stupidity. So if you continue to behave stupidly, and you think that God will somehow, turn foolishness into something that is sensible, you will pray for the rest of your life, and you will remain in stupid. I'm sorry. I think God has already done a lot for Liberia. I think God has done a lot for us. In times of difficulties, when bullets were flying all over that country, He saved lives. When people found themselves in situation that they could have gotten killed. I heard Grace give a story the other day about how she was her child was misrepresented. She could have, God forbid, she could have died. That was God's intervention. God saved many lives. And you know what else He did? He once and for all brought peace to Liberia. What have we done with the peace that we've enjoyed all of these years? What have we done with that peace? What have we done with the second chance He's given us? So I disagree. I think it's crazy when we continue to, let's pray for the country. No, Liberia do not need prayers. We need leadership. We need patriotism. We need to get serious. That's what we need. We don't need prayers. It's crazy that those who continue to pray for a better Liberia will turn around when God gave you the opportunity to go and vote for the right people to change your lives. You turn around and vote for the same people who have hurt you all these years. And then you come back and say, we'll pray again. God don't answer foolishness. God don't have time for foolishness. So let's not call the name of God in vain. Liberia don't need prayers. We need serious leadership. We need to make serious decisions because our problems are serious. That's number one. Number two, I think the Supreme Court should put on the big boys and big girls, boxers and drawers. Put it on. I think I mean, we don't care about why would the Supreme Court even think about the possibility of their lives being, being threatened because they're doing their job? Why? And I heard my brother Sylvester talking about, well, they shouldn't take sides. The Supreme Court ruling have got nothing to do with taking sides. The Supreme Court ruling should be bended on the law and nothing but the law. So if the law takes the right side, so be it. If the law stands on the side of fanatical, they should not be worried about, if we speak the truth and we rule the based on the law, they will look at it as if we were taking side. Who cares? Your job is to render judgment solely on the law. Period. Don't worry about the perception of the public. Let the public have their own opinion, but they don't adjudicate legal cases in public. They do so based on the facts. So the fact that they're wasting time with this case again is indicative of the country we have as Liberia. It sickens me that all of the things that should be done the way they should be done, it's always done the Liberian way. I mean, it blows my mind. We got the smartest people in Liberia. We got some of the smartest people in the world. Simple things, we can get it right. Simple things, we can get it right. So Dr. Peabody, at this point, I don't care about the Supreme Court ruling. Whenever the Supreme Court decides to rule, then we'll hear the ruling and we'll discuss the ruling. I don't care about the Supreme Court ruling because, again, it does not take this long to rule on a simple matter. If the Supreme Court says that these guys were ultra-vires, there's no reason why they can come back and say, listen, the Constitution was not followed by the majority bloc. And as a result, Fanati Kofa remains the speaker until a credible election is held as per the Constitution and as their own standing rules. That's not a brain. It's simple. No one's going to go and chop people necks off because they did their jobs. No one's going to do that. But we waste people's time. We waste taxpayer monies, and the people don't care. The people don't care because those that have elected them don't care.
You know, it appears to me as if people are behaving as if they don't know the law or they are limited because they're making a lot of mistakes. Because 1 minute you don't recognize him coming as the speaker, you did not show up to the Capitol building at the time of the SONA, but yeah, still you're writing another letter out there again and calling him, addressing him.
A point of correction. That letter was written and it was published. It was April 1st. So we shouldn't take it for what it is. It could be.
There
April.
You go.
Okay.
But April 1st, or written March 31st.
31st, yeah, the day before. That's what I'm
The
saying.
day before that April Fool.
Published and
So that
published.
could be April Fool. Okay.
So that should be April Fool, right?
It could
That could be
yeah.
April Fool. Okay.
Okay.
That's a good. Okay. But let's bring in.
Yeah, but why are we playing? Why are we even playing April? Why is the Supreme Court in the business of doing?
No,
April Fool?
no. It's not a Supreme Court.
Oh, it's not a
So,
Supreme Court.
Supreme Court,
Okay.
right?
Thank you. I was about to say, what? Come on, man. We're not.
Brother,
Thank you.
Based on
Thank-
president, since the
It is not on the letterhead or anything.
Okay.
Thank you
yeah, so
thank you for correcting us. Thank you.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Thank you
discuss
for
it.
saying that.
That's a smart
Well,
one.
let's bring in Mr. Russell. He haven't spoken. He's been here for me.
Sure.
Coming, Mr. Russell. Even though we had April Fool, but why is the Supreme Court of Liberia is taking this long to just something their own words to just come back and make clarification to their own language? Why should it take this long? I mean, come
There's
on.
no clarification on the thing. The thing that was said to all be confused. What's it?
No, it will not happen this time.
Tell me,
Anthony,
Russell,
see it.
tell me.
It's not going to happen. I'm going to say it last
Yeah.
one. Trust me. The fact that they are reneging,
We confused
Let-
already.
let-
we're going to be
come
more
there, Russell,
confused than the
please.
first time.
We confused already.
We're confused already. And trust me. Hey, we have today. It will happen soon. Or if not, it will come out.
I think some of us are. When I came in, I heard it talking about. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking about the pervasive and widespread lawlessness in the country. It's just so discouraging, and to a degree, I mean, it's mind-boggling. Some of the things that we see happening. I know someone highlighted the incident involving the Liberia National Police. Chief Superintendent Melvin Gray had that on my wall. I think I wrote a story about it. He's one of the officers who recently trained, and he's part of the public safety division of the Liberia National Police. But the issue is that you see a lot of cars in Monrovia driving without license plates. I mean, the law calls for you to have 2 license plates, one in the front, one in the back. And many of these lawmakers, especially, but many others, too, government officials, plowing the streets of Monrovia with their cars around the country without license plates. And so this officer saw this car, didn't know who it was, could care less who it was, but saw an obvious traffic violation and stopped the car and gave the driver a ticket, a citation for driving, a car without a license plate on recognizable vehicle and all of that. It clearly a traffic violation, and it's in the code, it's in the law. And only to find out that the car belonged to a sitting representative from Maryland County, and he didn't like the idea, and so summoned not only the officer but the police chief as well to the Capitol building, and there were over 15 lawmakers there, all demanding that the ticket that was issued be rescinded. The police chief said no. And they even took issue because now the police are being outfitted with body cams.
Yes.
That were donated. They bought some, but we took some there from Brooklyn Park. And so they all been outfitted with body cams. And the body cams are to hold them accountable, to protect, the rights of the citizens who have been, stopped and pulled over, but to also protect themselves. But these lawmakers are saying that they don't want the officers using body cams. So we trying to update and build the capacity of the Liberia National Police. I don't think, as far as I know, there are very few, if any, police force in West Africa. I heard maybe Ghana, but it's not a common thing to see them keep wearing body cams. But the Liberia National Police are now wearing body cams, and these lawmakers are saying that the body cams are very disrespectful. The police shouldn't be using body cams. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the absurdity of that?
Well, who are the lawmakers, by the way?
Huh?
That the same lawbreakers, the same people.
Yeah, yeah. So and I'm glad. Whoever brought it up, I'm glad you brought it up to just highlight the lawlessness that exists in the country. So if you have an issue as to and concern as to why the Supreme Court is taking this long to issue a ruling, or have been in silence in some respect and all of that. It just cuts across the entire country about the lawlessness. To tell the police, who's trying to do a high level type job. Every police jurisdiction in the United States and in most Western countries are now carrying body cams.
Yep.
It's like the norm, Very few African countries, if any, have that. Okay, we have it. We're introducing that in Liberia, and these guys are pushing back against that because they don't want to put the cameras. And they've recorded. Those guys have recorded. A number of them. Breaking the law, driving. In head on in traffic. Doing a lot of things. So it's not just. They don't have driver's license. They're not the vehicle not properly registered. Just a slew of things that they are doing and trying to hold them accountable, and they have issue with it. So that's so. Whoever brought that up, I'm glad that you did. But that's an issue that we've been dealing with. I've been dealing with, working on that because that's part of what we were doing in the country. I know Dr. Peabody asked me, say, "Oh, my man, so you're working for the police now, eh?"
I have a question, excuse me, to Mr. Russell. I know they have body cams, but there is no electricity in the country. How do they go about charging that?
The body cams are like your cell phone, so they will charge in the car. So once you get out when you get back, all of the footage that is captured by the cam is downloaded. So that the cameras, as you can imagine, Grace, I mean, it's the easy thing to charge. It's like your cell phone. So it's not run off electricity. It's run off the car battery, or there's a docking station that they put it in, and it charges it
Within the car.
Within the car, we have some in the car, and they have some in the offices. But I mean, but they are they work without having LEC or whatever, because they have.
The thing is that that's
Yeah,
the
they have
reason why they need
battery.
in the country, because for the police, for any entity or agency to really function right, people need to fix the electricity in Liberia. For some reason, I don't know why. I keep on asking how they still cannot fix the electricity in the country. I don't know.
Especially,
that's one thing. I mean, yes. I mean, we need that. Everyone's talking about that. We saw what happened at the airport.
they were crossed by bird. They said bird. The one that hit the.
No, it's not bird.
Like a Peabody.
Yeah. So
don't let the bird association.
No, but I mean, yes, what happened, right? I'm not an electrician, but because my line of work permits me to understand backup and hybrid, redundancy in electricity, because my line of work required that. So they had a backup generator, but a backup generator does not have another backup. So in cases like that, you need a hybrid setup where from the main grid, which is LEC, to the backup generator, to a solar, battery, or another form of generator in a backup form another way. They only have one backup, which is that generator. And when the generator kicks in, it had a fault. And so when the generator had a fault, they didn't have another backup. It took them 6 hours to figure out that problem and to power back the generator on. You cannot run an airport like that. You need a hybrid system where one goes down, the other one kicking in, and the other one goes down, the other one kicking while you're working on the other one. You can't wait until something happens, then you start fixing it. The airport cannot afford to go with 1 or 2 minutes without electricity. Now, the quote-unquote bird thing happened a week before. So, and it also happened on the LEC transformer, not the generator. So, let's agree the bird thing happened. What impact does it have on the generator? That's a different source.
Before we go to the key, the thing is, why should a country like Liberia rely on old generators for your airports? Why not purchase brand new generator? Why should they rely on a generator that was donated by a Ghanaian millionaire Muhammad to install the Ralphie, and it's not even brand new, and you make a whole sacrifice on your airport like that? I don't know. But Siddiqui, I mean, you want to chime in a little bit?
So I really don't expect. I don't expect anything new in terms of the ruling from the court. I think that was also evidenced in the different conversations that occurred during the argument, when 3 noticeable ones include when the Chief Justice had rejected the argument from that the court had not only indicated that the actions of the majority, but that also it had recognized. We saw the Chief Justice going in outrage, rejecting that assumption from Kofa's lawyer that the Supreme Court bench had never indicated that. They didn't say so. And even though they said it was ultra vires, however, they also didn't say Kofa was the legitimate speaker. We heard saying that, and then also we heard the Associate Justice Wolokoli saying that it is baffling to them that the court to that say Mr. A is right or Mr. B is wrong. She said, of course, the court wouldn't rule like that. So that summarized to suggest to me that the court would not provide any different kind of a ruling after what it has already done. In short, it will provide a ruling that perhaps will leave the same level of ambiguity generally. So what does this say now? It says to me, particularly so as the court takes a longer time to rule, then now it becomes where responsible leaders come together to negotiate. It's unfortunate that one of the most experienced president will have a legacy ultimately that will say during his time we had an impasse where you say there were two speakers, but more than that, you also had a situation where the capital was burned. I wouldn't know how that would not be a concerning issue for the president who, with this window open now till the court rule, and that's what every responsible government do. People negotiate, people talk behind the scene, people find solution to problems. Because that's the essence of leadership. To find solution to problems. The problem in the legislature is one that affected every aspect to the point where we will now be spending additional 1.8 and even more million to repair a building that in the first place we shouldn't be doing. So the question we ask ourselves, with 2, 3, 4 weeks being provided for before the court ruling, what is Barker doing? What leadership is he providing to ensure that this problem is solved? People say, oh, the executive cannot interfere. No. The executive can solve problems. Because Johnson, you have a caucus. So you don't allow things to burn, to go beyond control before you step in, which of course the president did when I heard he told Kofa step aside. That's not how you do it. You build trust, you provide solutions, you provide alternatives. You make people to see the bigger picture. And it's just unfortunate that, like I said, part of the things we will count in this 6 years period will also be having a period where we had two speakers, having a situation where we burn our capital, and all of those other things that will happen. So it's just unfortunate. And like I said, I really do not expect anything fundamentally different from the court's previous ruling. And I do not expect one that will say that, look, Peter is right, Paul is wrong. They're going to come and provide the same ambiguity form of ruling that will now eventually come down to the same process. So we hope, and it's just unfortunate.
Well, it seems very unfortunate if they come up with that kind of ruling. You the second person saying this. Sylvester said it. And you saying it now. And if they come up with that kind of ruling, that shows they in that they are inept to really provide a fine interpretation of the Liberian people. That for me, because
if I may, Dr. Peabody, on this particular subject,
it was almost clear. Yeah, it was almost clear in their argument. I mean, look, it's not also what they said. It was also what they did not say.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So that is also fundamental to determine where they want to go with this. Because of course, look, let's look at the whole thing from the very beginning. Kofa was clear as to what he wanted the court to rule on when he went there. He asked that the court asked the majority black to go back because the action was illegal. Those are things he prayed the court for. The court, he asked that those people, quote unquote, suspended, the suspension be removed. So he asked for specific actions. And the court, in my view, we're not lawyers, so sometimes it's not good to try to pretend to be one. But I would think the court provided a general ruling. I remember when the court ruled, I wrote Kofa. I said, look, I'm not a lawyer, but just from a simple thing, if you are going in, for example, let's take it this way. You are going in to give a report for stolen battery from your car. You're focusing on your car, you go log the investigation, talk about maybe there was somebody who's got burger around 5, 6 streets away from you. How providing that event relate to the issue you sought judgment on? So I thought that the court was not directly responding to the thing he wanted judgment on, and I think they satisfied him by saying it was ultra-virus, but they did not give him judgment. Similarly, so it did not also rebuke the other guys who they thought were being ultra viral to say, look, you are illegal. Now the court will go into an argument that a bill of information. In the bill of information, they say, look, we say it was ultra viral, but we did not say Guar was the legal speaker. The court also come at you, one of the speakers, to say, look, you don't expect us to provide reading as if we're talking to ABC students or people in the street. We're not going to say A is right, B is wrong. We're going to provide judgment based on that. And I think a fundamental aspect of what the law should be, it should provide clarity. Judgment is served when one understands it. Because, for example, what is a punishment to a man who doesn't understand for what he's being punished? There will be no punishment. The reason is to correct, but if he doesn't understand that, then so should it also be with these different rules and stuff like that. So we hope that Bwakana, for me, the owners will eventually fall on the presidency that must provide leadership in resolving crisis. That is a crisis within the country. To what extent Bwaka is innovative, is creative, is persuasive enough to be able to solve that about his presidency. For real, regardless of whether it's a legal issue.
But I think that Siddiqui, I think that for me, I know others have said the Supreme Court was not clear enough, but I thought they were, and people who truly appreciate the law, I think also understand that they were. People illegal, they use different terminology, right? But when something is ultra virus, basically you don't have the legal power or authority to be in the space.
Then,
And
Robert,
so-
if they were, they should clarify by the bill of information. and just tell people.
but that's the meaning of ultra virus. So I think it's political when they're saying, well, they're saying that we are ultra virus, but they're not saying where we are is illegal. But it makes no sense when someone tells you that your action that you've done, you have no legal power or authority to do so. That means you're wrong. But they want the Supreme Court to come and say you're wrong and you must return to session. The Supreme Court in many other instances have said return to status quo. How else should they communicate to adults and people who you would expect to understand these terminologies and understand the law? They are lawmakers, So I think it's a political.
The intent, Robert, the intent of the law is
just quickly,
for the court-
Robert. So quickly, I do agree with you. I share that view as well, and I think many have shared similar view to the extent that until they went for the Bill of Information, so it was baffling to me when one of our great alumni of the law, Arthur Jones, who represented COFA, ultra viral to suggest that it means that COFA then was the legal speaker. So when I see the Chief Justice forcibly refuting that, then it gives me a different interpretation as to what they were actually saying, because she was clear. Look, yes, we did say it was ultra viral, but we also didn't say, or we did not imply that it means that COFA was the legal speaker. So I was like, what's happening here?
So Siddiqui, that's the point I want to speak on, right? And after watching that deliberation, I'm not a lawyer. Even Councillor Nyenwolo Gongloe had an op-ed on his page. You go there. So after that deliberation, it's clear that where the Supreme Court gonna go. Here's why. If you follow legal proceeding, something that a counsel or a judge or any witness did not say in court, if you are trying to quote them, you have to quote them word for word. If anything is not word for word, they have to remind you of what they said. So in Councillor Johnson's point, when he meant that, that means that Speaker Kofa is a legitimate speaker, this associate justice has to say, no, that's not what we said in our opinion at the time. However, there's a sticking point, and there's a clear part that they made to suggest that the case is going to go the other side. When then the lead counsel, Councillor Vanny Sherman, inserted that his client, referring to the majority black, has every right to hold a section. Then she said the Constitution does not provide parallel section there is one speaker at a time. And that speaker is the presiding officer. Whether the majority black, they are 100 or 1,000. It does not give them the responsibility, the right to have another parallel section. They're supposed to have section, and in that section, where they're supposed to air their grievances and then bring the matter to the court or to the floor. They did not do so. They had a parallel section. Another thing they argue on was the speaker present? Oh yeah, but you are in your office, you are not on the floor. Again, the Constitution gave the speaker the right under our law as the presiding officer. So the deputy speaker has no function until given authority by the speaker to act. Not because he's a deputy speaker, he automatically becomes the presiding officer. The Constitution did not give him that power.
No,
So,
get
hold on.
No,
I don't want to lose my train of thought, please. Right? So they did that back and forth, and the recording are out there. You can take your time to dissect it, right? When people are deliberating and you see them making key points on certain issues, again, go back to Article 33 and Article 49. That is the bedrock of this story here. It is where the Supreme Court pinned it down where they were going with the whole thing. It is a constitutional matter that required the Supreme Court interpretation. A justice minister opinion does not supersede the decision of the Supreme Court. Under no circumstances does that happen. So the court clearly told the lead counsel that their parallel section, that session was completely ultra-virus because the plenary, if you have a quorum without a speaker, it does not become a session or plenary. It does not. The speaker, the presiding officer, as per the Constitution, has to be for it to become a session. Not a group of people get formed themselves. If that was the case, any group of people can get sit down and say, "Okay, we have session."
So that'll cut you all. I think that is fundamental argument all over. I share many of what you say. Of course, those have been arguing in the court. So I think we have passed that stage as to what we think for the 933. Where we are now is for the Superior Court of our country to provide its ruling. It did once. It doesn't seem to have been clear to even the person who took the court, and so sought to have a bit of information. Means, can you make clearer what you say? So we hope now that the court will make clearer what it says. But I would think, particularly so from those from the COFA and for those who have nothing clearer than to say he's the legitimate speaker. And I think that even if his lead counsel was not quoting the court, but I think his interpretation of ultra-viral will mean that the actions of the other people were illegal, and therefore we remain legal. But if to say the court not necessarily saying that's what you said, but that's the understanding of the action to say, no, that's not what we meant at all, put some of us in a state of confusion. And like I said, we don't expect anything. We're not creating any new expectation. We're just hoping, waiting. We're not speculating the court. We're hoping to hear what the court will say within the next few days. Hopefully, it gives a little clearer judgment than what it gave earlier that addresses the bit of information. Because we already know the court ruling, but then there is a bit of information that says you need to come a little clearer with what you rule on. So we hope that becomes the case in the next few days.
Everybody, and I was trying to, and I believe what the court going to say here, and I'm not really going to move too deep into this process. I'm not going to be surprised, but what I'm thinking up here is basically what I'm afraid is going to happen. But what I was saying, so the speaker don't have to necessarily tell the deputy speaker to preside. No, that's why I was trying to come in quickly to just provide that information. Whenever the speaker is not in, I'm not talking about this now. Whenever the speaker is not around in section, he's not available. He can be in country, he can be in the city of Monrovia. He's not in section, and that's why the constitutions give the lawmakers from each of those houses to set their own rules. So the rule is clear. It's order of precedence. If the speaker is not around, So the speaker don't have to call and say, "Oh, I'm not." You preside. No, the speaker is not there. The deputy speaker will preside. So that's just the process I was trying, because you said the speaker will have to tell the deputy speaker to do this. No, he don't necessarily have to instruct
so here's
him.
the point.
I'm
Pewee.
coming. You didn't want me to interrupt you. Just let me
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. So the deputy speaker don't have to receive any instruction from the speaker to say you're going to preside before he presides. No. If the speaker is not in section and there's a quorum, the next person in the order of precedence going to preside. Then that next person is going to be the deputy speaker. If that deputy speaker is not also there and there's a quorum, the next person in the order of precedence, which of course is going to be the chairman on executive, will preside. So it's going to go that way up to the end of the 5 statutory members that are appointed in terms of the leadership function. So that's why I was saying. So again, the speaker is elected for a term of 6 years by his colleagues, and he shall be the presiding officer whenever he's in session, whenever he's there, and when there's a quorum. When he's not there, then the order of precedence is going to take effect. That also, the Constitution will clear to go on the other side. When it's a joint section, he will also going to preside. Now, the intent of the Constitution, the intent of the code, and what the code going to do, for me, I don't want to take much time on this issue. And for me, I hate to do things that people will predict. What I suspect the code going to do is that the code don't want to be seen as dragging into or interfering into this issue. Similar thing happened during the Eddie Snow days. They were very mindful of how they crafted their statement and the rest of that. The fact that they are still walking this process. And the intent of the Bill of Information is meant actually for the court to come and get us, non-lawyers, and the people of Liberia, deep understanding of this issue. Now, and you're correct somehow to say the court said this, other people citing the ultra-viral news. And if you listen to this, the past hearing, the Chief Justice and other associate justices, their own thought process to the issue, they expose to us, non-lawyers and the people of Liberia, that they believe both sides are operating in that same context of outside the Constitution. As per the way they grilled both lawyers, the way they spoke from that perspective. So where are we? So the intent is what they're going to do. They're going to create more problem for us. I suspect that they're going to say, go and solve your problem. Go and solve your problem. And if you say to them, go and solve your problem, those renegade guys, they're going to believe that they got the number, they got this. So I think in my mind, the Bill of Information intent, the code was to just come out and be emphatic about this issue. Come and say to the people of Liberia that the procedure in removing Mr. Kofa was constitutionally wrong. And that will be
They also mentioned that in the hearing.
Huh?
They also mentioned that in the hearing.
And yeah, that's what we expect the Bill of Information to come and say.
They mentioned that in the hearing that the procedure was not followed.
Yes. If the procedure, and they were for me as a non-lawyer, they were for me, I observed that procedurally it was not followed. And so what is not done legally, it's not done at all. It's clear. So if they will come out to say that to us, maybe next week, maybe Monday, maybe the next Tuesday, or maybe the end of this month, something that I believe it will be a very good thing. But if they didn't do that and it left it hanging again, trust me, we're going to be in this cycle and this process. They're going to go lingering this way, and it's going to be very embarrassing to the country moving forward. So I would believe that these 5 people can come out and do justice to the people of Liberia by coming up definitively and to bring some level of finality to this process. Other than that, we're going to be in this cycle that the Peabody. For me, that would be what I would say. But if that don't happen, I'm surprised. Almost 2 weeks now, the Bill of Information have not been interpreted to the people of Liberia for this issue, and that's the intent of the Constitution.
I think it's sad. We got 22 more minutes. Let's try 8:30. We got to be on his shop. I mean, Sylvester is a serious issue, and it just tells me that if we can rely on the Supreme Court, that shows that we have a really breakdown of government. We can't rely on the Supreme Court to interpret simple things as the Bill of Information. You know, you got to go back and forth. You got to do this. You got to do that. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but I believe they also have the personal interests involved, the benefits, and they're afraid that if they really come up with a kind of ruling that Liberian people expect, or that should be free of all the biases and all that, they will not get that from the executive and all of that. So the executive had totally plunged the Supreme Court into a mess, a complete mess that I don't know how we want to solve it, but it's sad, and because right now they probably negotiating. I mean, when I saw to be honest, when I saw the vice president show up to a program that was hosted by the chief justice's daughter, dedicating her building, stuff like that, that was troubling. That was
complete conflict of interest, man.
very, very troubling.
Man.
Very,
It didn't happen here.
A lot of things happen behind the scene, and I mean it's troubling, it's sad. But the fact that they the embarrassing thing here is this, and it is part of the process about understanding governance in our country. The fact that the government, the ruling establishment headed by the president, the executive, already took side in this matter.
yeah.
They're going to arm twist the court. I think the court is impaired in this process about the bit of information, and this my suspicion. I may be wrong. I believe that they're going to slow walk this process, eventually to see if they can do some work behind the scene to convince Mr. Kofa also. If that didn't work, then they're going to let the coach. The court to do. They're going to take on the nuclear option, and the nuclear option will be to arm twist the court to take decision that will just favor the other side. I'm deeply worried and concerned about that. I may be wrong here, because the court should have spoken definitively to us. It is clear that the procedural mechanism in removing Mr. Speaker Franti Kofa was flawed, and if it is flawed, tell the people this is wrong. And if you spoke to them, if the court came out and played her role, and then the executive didn't budge, then we will rebuke the executive for that. We will come out, the people of Liberia, to rebuke the executive and do the appropriate thing. But if that is not the case, Speaker Kofa and now these things that will happen in the public glare, we want to wait and see what's going to happen. And that's why we said the first time it was interpreted by the Attorney General of the Republic, something that was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Right? Very unfortunate. This time around, we are hopeful to either send it either to Grand Bassa or send it to Grand Julia for interpretation. So,
well, listen,
but Pewee,
Dr. Peabody.
Remember the very court asked the Justice Minister to opine on this matter, and the Justice Minister declined. Right?
Yes, exactly. Excellent. Yeah.
So he declined.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the Supreme Court, and I want to trust the opinion, and I have this conviction for some reason that they're going to do the right thing this time around, because if you really listen to that hearing, they also honed down on this procedure was not followed. You did not do the right thing. You did not follow the proper order. The Constitution gave the procedure. Look, if you have the number to remove a person, they are not automatically removed until you follow the procedure that removed them. Have a resolution, bring your 49 votes, you get the 49 vote, you exercise the vote on the floor, and the man is removed. Those things were not done.
So if they're saying all of those things, then it shouldn't take them forever to come up with a ruling. That's one. Two, I disagree that the executive have dragged the Supreme Court in a total mess, Dr. Peabody. And the reason why I disagree is because the executive have pushed this whole separation of power, thing all along, for which they argue they don't want to get involved. The Supreme Court does not work at the will and pleasure of Joseph Boakai. And so if they allow the president to influence the decision, it's up to them. It's a reflection of them. And so I won't even play with the whole idea that any possible ruling from the Supreme Court. And I understand where you're coming from, because hey, we're talking about Liberia yet, but the Supreme Court should be functioning independently. The members of the Supreme Court are not appointed by Joseph Boakai.
Raul, do you agree that the court can be political? around the world, Supreme Court can be political. Do you agree
Of
with
course, based on the courts can be
that?
political.
And that's what we fear.
This is the reason why. The appointments of chief justices at the Supreme Court by whoever president is critical, and I think we see what happened in this country. But I will take this country for example. Doesn't matter if Barack Obama appointed whoever or Donald appointed whoever. They often go to the Supreme Court to rule based on the Constitution of America, and of course, there are consideration for instance, abortion. For instance, I'll give you an example for abortion. These conservative justices have a conservative argument when they're arguing these sensitive cases. The Democrats have a liberal argument when they're having these. At the end of the day, though, Sylvester, they must rule based on the law. So the Supreme Court in Liberia, again, I'm not saying the Supreme Court cannot be political, but I don't think that the Supreme Court have to be worried about the executive mansion own interpretation of what that ruling could possibly mean. They should rule based on the law and don't worry about our interpretation of it as long as it's based on the law. That's my expectation and that's my anticipation. And so I don't think that the executive branch have dragged them in a mess. If they're in a mess, I think they probably will have to blame themselves.
I think
go ahead.
Yes. I'm very optimistic that the Supreme Court did something that sent a clear message to the world that they will be constitutional in nature, the law. They did something that the U.S. Supreme Court has never done. They allowed the proceeding to be broadcast live. In the United States, you can have an audio.
Yeah.
You can have it print out, but you do not have a video. This is the first in its history. And if anybody had any suspicion of the Chief Justice visit and association or other folks, she put that to an end during the argument. She was so strong at Vani Sherman that it was embarrassing. In fact, she said the notion of majority bloc is nowhere in any of our constitutional mandate. It's not available. It doesn't exist. So we cannot even use that terminology here. And secondly, and most importantly, you can downplay it or not, but the United States State Department on the table, on the desk of the president, they are giving us 60 days to put our house in order. That includes the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. That's why the Liberian Supreme Court opened it to the world to see that they have gravitas. And I see nowhere else that they will go than to say the right thing, that Honorable Kofa remains the legitimate Speaker of the House, because it has a lot of bearing on the reputation of that court. And for them to say we are going to be as transparent as it can be, we are going to allow the whole world to see how we question, how we litigate, and how we make decisions. She made it clear. She said, we are not going to rule, we are not going to come up with a verdict, because that is not what we do. We're going to come up with an opinion. And the opinion is going to be on the side of the law. So if the Irishman is waiting for them to say, you are wrong and you are right, it's not going to happen, but they're going to have an opinion, because that's what the court does. They render opinion. They don't render judgment. And their opinion is going to be based on law and the facts. So I'm very, very optimistic based on the camera being in there and everybody observing what happened, which have never happened. And then that yellow card that we have, the hanging over our head, we have 60 days to put things in order. I am very, very much optimistic that the right thing is going to be done. Fonati Kofa is going to remain the speaker, and they're going to find a way for him, like he said it himself. if we come under the auspices of the law, and my colleagues tell me that they don't want me, I'm not going to rerun. I have no interest in it if my peers don't want me. They come, they put a resolution on the floor. I recuse myself. The deputy speaker receives, forms a committee. They investigate me. If they don't want me, I leave. And that's the procedure. And he has set himself apart. This is the guy that I bob-mouthed. Okay, for 5 years I've been bob-mouthing this guy. What he did to my homeboy Bromsky when the political party, when Liberty Party went down, he jumped to a Unity Party with Ellen Johnson. When Ellen Johnson left, he jumped to CDC and then used CDC as a springboard to become Speaker of the House. CDC didn't like that, but on this particular issue, he is right. And I think the world is going to see now we have made him a hero. Even if he resigns, when everything comes to it, he resigns or the move removed. He is the hero now to be a man who stands for the rule of law. And I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, we got about what? We got about 10 more minutes. Let's just start our closing and then we'll call it a day. But I'm really hoping next week we have the ANC folks have book a spot with us to come up and talk about their upcoming program. So once they get back to me, it could be either on Monday or Tuesday. But they're already sending the payment stuff like that for us to do that with them. So we'll be bringing them on. But tomorrow, I want us to really showcase the issue with that lady. We first reported her case here. It was around Christmas. And she was going through some serious time. In fact, one of her sons got killed in one of the riots in that area. And then they kind of took her bike from her, took her husband bike. They had nowhere to go. In fact, Christmas didn't even have food. I mean, it was Sylvester and a few other people. We donated some money that night just so that her family could have a Christmas. And now she's in jail and she will not give up. Hopefully, let's give it some time tomorrow and talk about the injustice and corruption stuff. But we got like 2 more minutes. I want to give everybody a minute and a half. Let's do our closing. But thank you. Certainly a great discussion again tonight. I will get everybody 1 minute and then we'll be
okay. I'll go out first. Thank you, gentlemen. Great discussion, Mr. Rossa, Siddiqui, ANC man. He's smiling. We got ANC will be here next week. So finally, you can have the time to talk about ANC, Robert Garguah, and Pewee. Great show. Thank you.
For this, right? Question mark.
All right, guy. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say thanks. You're inviting all of these folks. I mean, when are you going to invite the police? When are you going to invite the new and improved Liberia National Police to come here and so?
The ANC people pay for a spot now. We can give the police.
I think.
I mean, this is a public service, bro.
No, but the
ANC is a political party.
The
definitely
we gotta pay for. We gotta pay for StreamYard. We gotta pay our journalists under Philly Morovia. Stuff.
So I definitely think we should send an invitation to what's his name, Mr. Cooper. I think he's been doing a phenomenal job with the.
See, Robert, why are you so biased like this, man? I mean, like seriously, you know what? You know the reason why Robert's doing this. You know the reason why all the time the police be doing all the stuff. You want to talk to Greg? That the Cooper man you want to talk to because the man for Atlanta. Yeah, the man for Atlanta police department.
He's doing a good job. No, but Greg, I think he can come on too. We can.
But I agree with Robert. Gregor Coleman loved the camera. That other police officer showing from the camera too now.
But there should be a break. No, there should be a breaking news when we have body camera. That makes.
Yeah, I mean, And I was wondering how
Also,
the police officers, because
that's
recently
major
everything they
stuff.
reported on camera. I'm like, who's there with a camera? Well, thank you for letting us know.
I mean,
but let me tell you,
that's major stuff, man.
Yeah,
that's
that's breaking news.
Yeah,
that's a major stuff.
It was released first year on this show, obviously, but the official stuff is going to come out next week sometime with all of
good.
pictures.
That's a significant. That's a significant improvement. But you know what I think? For me, I don't know. I think we need to empower the police more. We need to give them even pistols to have in the street and stuff.
They do have service weapons. Yeah. They have tasers. They have Glocks, bro. What are you talking?
Yeah, but I think
not a police standing on the sidewalk directing traffic and car be coming towards them.
But the people about it.
But I can tell you, Robert Man has a Glock.
Absolutely. Yes. So I think the police should strive to. I think the idea. Look, Kupo, the superintendent. I think these guys are really leading the way when it comes to how police should actually conduct. I mean, their interaction. They respect themselves. They don't present themselves cheap.
Awesome.
They're not trying to ask for money. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their jobs, right?
But
the other police, I think most of the other police officers, I think they can follow in those steps. But I don't think we should put guns in the hands of all those guys. I've seen some videos of how they've been treating some folks. I mean, some of them are not just professional. I don't think they're at that level.
They need some training before gun getting
right to handle.
Training if they don't behave well.
Your play around, people be getting shot left and right. But let me do my closing.
Let's do our closing.
You may want to put it over the vet when you're hungry. People legs and we don't want that in that country. But listen, always a fascinating show to be on with all of you guys. But I think that as a country we have a lot of work to do, and I would just like to say, in as much as we sit here and talk every day, I think we're offering in all of our criticism, sometimes we're offering lots of different ideas, but I really would like to see us just go beyond just our opinions and do something. I think we've talked a lot. And we can't get tired talking, because that's our country and that's what we need. But I hope that we can get to the place where we can actually start doing something and to move our country forward. And so conversations like the one we had yesterday, I thought was great. But we need to elevate the conversation and start talking about the seriousness and what truly matters. I commend the ministry, the public work ministry today. I heard that they were breaking down parts of Guar Market to begin the expansion of the roads, and people weren't happy about it, right? But development comes with lots of pains. We need to move our country forward, and everyone may not be happy about it, but we need to start taking small steps to move our country forward. The entire country cannot be markets. The entire entire streets cannot just be folks selling. We need to do better. But always a great show, Doc. And thanks for your moderation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Robert. Let's go. Let's move on, guys. We got a few more minutes.
I'll close by saying, go on.
No, go ahead.
I'll close by saying, first and foremost, I want to say thank you, Councilman Russell, for your endeavor. You were long been, because your council work you did, you understand the police, needs and operation, out of that different thing, because you dealt with it, strictly from your office and on the field. So thank you for your intervention. I didn't even know they were carrying body cam, but I started seeing lately, every time there is a situation, it's already on camera. I'm like, who's walking behind the police officer with camera all the time? But they are doing it in a rightful manner. And look, we need to give it up to our police officers. They got little and they are working. They are lacking a lot of logistics, material that they need to get a job done. But for the little they have, for that police officer to give a lawmaker ticket For me, people need to commend him. This, you know who am I attitude in Liberia. We need to do away with that. If City Mayor in one of the borough in New Jersey recently was arrested because she was intoxicated while having a tablet in a vehicle, and the police officer noticed that and drove behind her. She went strictly into her driveway. In her driveway, he pulled her over. And she said, oh, nothing happening. She pulled a child down, whatnot. They were like, no, do this step, the routine step in the test and everything. And she failed it. And the guy handcuffed her. She started crying, and she was taken away. Look, your position is greater than rank. In the military, they will tell you that. As a police officer in the traffic, what is the President Joseph Yuma Boaka in a different vehicle that does not have a license plate, and you don't know that it's an executive, a convoy going, you can stop that vehicle. And I'm glad that he did that. Shame on our Liberia legislature, especially the House of Representatives, for even drafting a letter to summon a police officer, including the IG, to go answer questions. I didn't follow that hearing. But these are things that we need to flag. It doesn't matter your status. And many of them are driving, plotting in the streets in Liberia without a license plate. Some of them don't even have driver license. To drive is a privilege. It is not your right.
It's not a right, yeah.
Driving is a privilege. You can be stripped of your driving privileges. So I don't know why people just think like they are entitled to driving. No, it is a privilege. It's not a right. And so I want to commend that police officer for doing the right thing. And the executive mansion and the judiciary branch need to back this police officer so that other people will follow suit and respect. But if this guy fly under the radar and don't get, penalized and don't pay that ticket, then who's going to respect the police officers in the street? We are not just so law-abiding in America when we see police officers on the highway and everybody slow down. 3 things happen to us. The first thing when you get...
Let's cut a shot.
Yeah, so, I just want to say kudos to that police officer.
The police officer name is Melvin Gray. It's a young police officer who was recently trained by Robert's guy.
Cooper.
Yes. ACP Cooper. So I mean, if you want the police, I mean,
No, I'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Okay. All right.
Only when Guy Cooper shows up.
No, well, Coleman can come as well. We can have a good conversation.
No, so yeah, guys, thanks a lot, and Anthony, thanks for bringing that up. I think these guys now. I know Robert highlighted it a little bit, but this group, this is they were called the Special Enforcement Unit. So it's not the entire, as you can see. So it's a special group of folks. I think there are about between 12 to 15 of them for now that have been trained.
They're based in Monrovia, right?
Yes, for now.
Okay.
Yeah, but the idea is to get them across the country. But these 12, so the videos and stuff so Cooper is the lead, is the ACP.
And they all have a vehicle.
They all have a vehicle, 2 per vehicle, and they all have body cams.
Okay. Great.
And I'm not going to tell you what else they have on the
Until you go test them, huh?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
Let's see the key close quickly, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, sure. I think a lot of insight.
You're coming very low.
Sidiki,
Better?
that Walmart thing you got there, take it or go back to the reality, man.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
I was using an earpiece, but anyway, we hope that our court will not only provide clarity in the soonest time possible, but also will provide a closure to this impasse. We think the Liberian people deserve it. We need to move forward. We think Kofa was a very balanced speaker who, though from the opposition, but was prepared to work with the ruling establishment to move the country forward. We think he has some landmark definition of what direction he wanted to take the speakership. He had called for audit. He had called for the war crime code. I think those are the kinds of things we hope to see our leaders do. In the end, right now, the country is looking up to the court to provide solution to this, and we hope it will burn up the courage to do so. We are also commend the action of the police, the new direction we think it is, and so we call on the House of Representatives to tell a colleague to go and solve that matter, go to a court, plead not guilty, and provide reason why he should not pay the ticket. We think that is just as simple as that. It does not require a national discussion through plenary for a man who violated traffic law for us to go and talk about that. Because what we want to do, we want to set an example, and that's what leaders do. Set an example that it's okay for police to issue tickets to those who violate. And if they can set those examples going to court for a ticket being issued or paying the ticket, we think it will trickle down to everybody else. And eventually, we will have a semblance of some form of law-abiding process in our traffic system. With regard to ANC, we look forward to seeing them soon. I'm not too sure they have anything new to say, but if they do, we hope to hear what different they will be able. They'll be able to say not the same attitude. So we'll be here to grade them and see what different they will make. Great show. It was nice hearing all of you inside.
Great to see my brother. You're looking healthy, man. Great to see you, man.
Yeah, man. I'll reach out soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great show, guys. Thank you so much for coming tonight, man. Thank you always.
Mr. Russell, I would need your number, man. That is great. That is great news. I'm telling you, man.
When to put a camera on, let us know.
You have to get it from Dr. Peabody or Robert, though.
That is great. I beat up on the police every time. That this one we got to really praise them. So, and it costs a lot of money. That camera, that thing costs a lot of money. So,
all right, guys.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you.
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow.